2022 FIFA World Cup has probably about 1 minute left to go in the group stage, and then we're on to the knockout round. Speaking of which, so too is Christian Pulisic, the United States midfielder, given the all clear after his pelvic contusion that he suffered when he scored the only goal of the match on Tuesday. That pelvic contusion led to some to speculate he got hit in a certain area. He said he didn't, but he's given the all clear against the Netherlands tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. Round of 16 gets underway. Meanwhile, look, I know it's soccer, but Serbia and Switzerland don't like each other. I mean, we're close to scream and fight. It has just ended. We're all done the group stage. Switzerland wins 3-2. They, along with Brazil, will advance. Brazil lost to Cameroon, actually. Earlier today, in Group G, Uruguay, they fall. They do not advance.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
If you haven't taken
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Live from the Big Kahuna in downtown Atlanta.
Let's ride!
Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR from the Big Kahuna in downtown Atlanta. SEC Championship game weekend. Could not be more fired up to be here in Atlanta. We got a ton to get to today. Todd McClure, SEC legend, will be honored tomorrow. He's here in 15 minutes. We will talk to Mike Griffith from Dog Nation, who will be here. Ross Dellenger will be on site with us. We will talk to Tommy Moffett here as well. We have got so much to do today. I'm fired up about this show. I had the chance earlier today. Many of you know, good friend Chuck Oliver, who, of course, hosted the Chuck Oliver Show. We carry it on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge weeknights, and it's all college football. His show's based out of Atlanta, so I popped over to his studio earlier today and did a couple of segments with Chuck from his studio. And I pulled out the Instagram and had him kind of just rap a little bit about the game. And, I asked Chuck, his thoughts. And at its most basic level, he said, hey, man, you're in the game. You're in the game. Alabama's not in the game. Ole Miss has never been in the game. Mississippi State's been in the game once, and that was in 1998. Texas A&M, despite all their money, has never been in the game. Auburn is not here in the game. You're in the game. LSU is in the game tomorrow, which means you have a chance. I think everybody readily understands what LSU is up against. We've talked about it a lot this week, understandably. My goodness, Georgia's really good. They've lost one game in 2 years. They're the number one team in the country. They're a pro roster, for God's sakes. I mean, they're incredible. They are what they are, and they've earned the designation that they have, and it's why they are a prohibitive favorite in this ball game tomorrow. But you're in the game, and LSU has really good players, and there's a lot of reason to think LSU is going to play their best, namely because when LSU has faced adversity, namely when they've lost this year, they have bounced back incredibly well. You think about that season-opening loss against Florida State for LSU. All they did after that was go on a little winning streak. They ripped off 4 straight wins after that. Looked mighty impressive, beating Southern, Mississippi State, New Mexico, then winning at Auburn. You lose at home against Tennessee, and we all know that was a super disappointing game. And you looked at what LSU did after that. They go to Florida and play probably their best game of the year, certainly offensively at that point. You beat Ole Miss, you throttle them. You beat Alabama at home. You go to Arkansas and win a hard-fought game. You beat UAB, so you rattle off 5 straight wins. You lose last week against Texas A&M, and we all know how disappointing that was. But what an opportunity LSU has, a team that has shown over and over again that it will bounce back in those spots, not just game to game, but also in games when adversity strikes. So LSU is wheels up. They're headed to Atlanta as we speak right now. They'll land here in a couple of hours. They're departing Baton Rouge, as we speak. They'll land here in Atlanta sometime in the 5 o'clock hour. They'll go straight over to Mercedes-Benz Stadium for a walkthrough, and then from there they go to their hotel and begin preparation for tomorrow's SEC championship game. We're at the Big Kahuna in downtown Atlanta. If you are in Atlanta, come see us. This is where Hanny will be for post-game tomorrow as well for Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Honestly, you can walk. It's incredible, like the hotel district here in downtown Atlanta, the Hilton, the Marriott, and the Hyatt. You can walk freely among all three without ever going outside. There are elevated cross bridges that connect them all in the Truist Center, so it's a great spot where we are, easy to access, great food. We appreciate the hospitality, great scene here as well. So for all the LSU fans looking for something to do, y'all come hang out with us here. Our coverage brought to you by Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com, and our friends over at Rev Business. All right, Todd McClure is going to join us in less than 10 minutes from right now. Looking forward to having Big Roo here. What a year it's been for Todd McClure as he went from of course, entering the Ring of Honor for the Atlanta Falcons earlier this football season here in Atlanta. And now Todd McClure's back as LSU's SEC legend. Every year during the SEC championship game, each of the member institutions honor one of their SEC legends that's recognized before the game. So Todd McClure, on the year that he goes into the Falcons Ring of Honor, he'll be recognized as an LSU SEC legend tomorrow before the game. So we're looking forward to having Todd with us here in about 10 minutes. He has meetings with he had lunch with the commissioner. He's got some appearances at the College Football Hall of Fame coming up in a little bit as well. But we're glad to steal a couple of minutes. So that's coming up here shortly. Let's update a couple of things first, if we could. Brian Kelly met with reporters here in the final preview of the game. And if we can start with number one, Alondra, here's Brian Kelly at its most basic level saying, yeah, he believes in his team.
The identity that we've developed this year is about fighting for 4 quarters, trusting what we've been taught and playing, one play at a time. If we do that, I believe that we can win the football game and be the SEC champs.
That is what they're playing for. Obviously, it's the SEC championship. We know the stakes. The loss last week really limited what LSU's opportunities are in the postseason. It's this simple. You win the game, you win the SEC, you go to the Sugar Bowl, which would be an awesome reward. You lose the game, you're likely headed to Orlando to play in the Citrus Bowl. But, man, we've had so many awesome experiences here in Atlanta over the years. LSU's been in this game 6 times. They've won it 5. The only loss was against Georgia in 2005, but LSU beat Georgia in 2003, beat Georgia here in 2011, beat Georgia here in 2019. So 3-1 in their 4 SEC championship game appearances against the Bulldogs. LSU's got an all-time series winning record against Georgia as well, and they've won 3 in a row in the series as well. 4 in a row in the series. The 2011 championship game, the 18 game, and then the 19 championship game. So 3 in a row. But. One more for Brian Kelly, though. Can we play number 8? This is Brian Kelly talking about what the preparation's been like this week for his team.
Yeah, so, our preparation is one that we understand is going to help us in our performance. And, it's not just what we do on the practice field. It's the decisions that we make away from the field. It's all the things that we do relative to nutrition, sleep, the training room, film study, and our guys are building better habits with that. And that's really what this has been about. It's how they think about it, and it's the habits that they've been building relative to their preparation. And we've come a long way, quite frankly. And this week, they've been very intentional, understanding how important it is playing, Georgia, the best team in the country, that those habits have to be really good if they want the kind of performance that they're looking for.
The other bit of good news for LSU is Brian Kelly did confirm Jaden Daniels is healthy. He's had a great week of practice. He is a go for the SEC championship game. And, we talked about this a bit earlier in the week, if you've been with us, that, look, the key to having success against Georgia is going to be Jaden Daniels having a big day. I don't mean to be I don't mean to spout off a cliche or something that sounds very obvious, but there are times where you could find a way to muddy up a game. You could win with defense in a strong running game, shortening the game, controlling the clock. But if you do that, Georgia's even better at that than you are. The thing you have to do is be explosive, and that's what Alabama did a year ago in this game. We've talked about it. Bryce Young threw for 421 in the game. He put the ball up. His receivers made plays. Jamison Williams had a catch and run for 80-some-odd yards in that game. It's what you got to do to be able to beat this team, and it's what LSU's going to have to do. And thankfully, Jaden Daniels is good to go because, man, if you didn't have Jaden available tomorrow, the opportunity for LSU to find a way to win this game would certainly feel minuscule. But Tigers will have their best offensive player ready to go for the SC Championship game tomorrow. It's a great thing for LSU. All right, we are at the Big Kahuna in downtown Atlanta. Our coverage here in Atlanta brought to you by Hudco Roofing and Rev Business. We're going to knock out our first break. When we come back, SEC legend Todd McClure is going to join us. We're looking forward to having Todd aboard here to talk about not only this game, how LSU might be able to win it, but him being honored as an SEC legend. So stick with us here on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Darren James & Associates, powered by eXp Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place. Agent225.com. Agent225.com. Y'all, we are inching closer to the new year, but every single day, literally every single day, Darren James and his team find themselves at a closing table getting deals done. If you want to be in that new home for the new year, you need to call Darren James. Call the realtor that sells more homes than anyone. Call Darren James and get your home sold. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. That's agent225.com, the most user-friendly website in real estate. If you need to sell your home, you need to do it quickly for the most amount of money, and you want a stress-free experience, then you need my friend Darren James. On the Wall Street Journal's list of the top 1,000 realtors in America, it's Darren James. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
A third of youth who grow up in foster care are homeless 18 months after aging out of care. But you can rewrite that story. Change a child's story. Become a volunteer today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance.
Live from the Big Kahuna in downtown Atlanta, after further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
From the Big Kahuna, we welcome in Big Roo. Todd McClure, of course. What a year for Todd McClure. Goes into the Atlanta Falcons Ring of Honor, and now honored by LSU as an SEC legend here at the SEC championship game. Todd's over by the College Football Hall of Fame, not far from where we are, but joining us via phone. Big Roo, how are you, Todd?
Oh, doing good, man. Doing well. It's like you said, it's been a great year, and looking forward to tomorrow to watch the Tigers play and be honored also.
Hey, man, let me ask you first. Well, I want to talk to you about the game in a bit, but let me ask, how does this go down whenever you find out that you're going to be honored as an SEC legend?
You know, I actually got a call from Verge Osbury. Verge was, of course, at LSU whenever I was there. He was in the academic center then, and he called me to let me know that I was going to be the guy representing LSU this year. And, just a really neat deal. And I'll tell you this, the SEC's been first class. They flown us up here, put us up. We had a lunch today. We're about to go to the College Football Hall of Fame for the award ceremony and meet and greet, and it's just been first class all the way around.
What's tomorrow going to be like? Do you know yet?
Yeah, so tomorrow we'll go down. We'll leave from the Hyatt Regency going to the fanfare, I guess they call it, to be down there at the Georgia World Congress Center. Each guy, I think there's 12 guys, so each guy will have about a 30-minute segment where they go on the podium for an interview process. So we'll go down there, I guess, answer some questions and hopefully talk a little trash to some Georgia fans.
Hey, man, is it it's got to be a little surreal, though, for you, man, to be back in this city where you played your entire professional career. What's that like to be able to do this here?
Yeah, man, it's really neat. Of course, I played my games in the Georgia Dome, which is no more, but to be back in the city, it kind of all worked out great. I was here a month ago for the Ring of Honor deal. And then to come back and also have my Tigers play in an SEC championship game, man, it's been a great year, and this will really cap it off tomorrow night watching the Tigers play.
Todd McClure is with us. I want to talk a little bit also about the game coming up, man. But you played collegiately here. You correct me if I'm wrong, but you were here in the '96 Peach Bowl, correct? So you played.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you were in that game against Clemson. 10-7 LSU win. But you were also on some teams that came up a little bit short, like tied for the West in 96 and 97, but came up a little bit short of getting to Atlanta. If you can kind of reflect, Todd, a little bit, being part of that era of LSU football that started sort of to transition out of those years, the 6 straight losing seasons, to the winning years under DiNardo, but coming up short a couple times. Now to see LSU playing in this game for the 7th time, what is that like for you?
Man, I'll tell you, Matt, I was talking with Jacques Doucette earlier in the lobby, and one of my teammates, Kevin Falk, who's going into the College Football Hall of Fame. I think if you wanted to hang your hat on one guy that kind of started this whole process, that was Kevin Falk when he committed to LSU, the whole Jerry DiNardo bringing back the magic. And I think it caught fire with Kevin Falk's commitment and him coming to LSU. It kind of brought a little buzz to the program. And I think where the program is today, it kind of goes back to that day and us getting back in the national spotlight. Of course, winning the big game against Florida in '97, Kevin going on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Just a neat deal, man. And I was just happy to be a part of a class that got the program started.
Heck yeah, man. So deserving. Todd McClure, SEC legend. He'll be going, being honored before the game tomorrow with the SEC Legends class. It's always interesting to, like, you've been to this game, right? As a spectator before, you've been to the SEC Championship, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so whenever the the players, the honorees go out, you have the two fan bases there as well, right? So you will you'll have LSU fans cheering loudly for you, and usually you'll have like Georgia fans obviously cheering loudly for their guy, but usually the other fan base boos the other team's legend. So but you played so long with the Falcons, these people are not going to boo you, are they?
I don't know, man.
You're going to get the most, dude, you are going to get the most raucous cheer ever for an opposing legend.
Hopefully, man. I'll tell you, we ate lunch today, and I'm not name dropping, but Greg Sankey was there, and he kind of answered a bunch of questions. We talked about a lot of things with, the conference expansion and all that, but he said, I want to let y'all know tomorrow. So you guys, he said, y'all be before the teams come out, y'all will be introduced. He said, but be ready for some boos. And you saw, all the guys that are going in, they started smiling, and I think it'll be butterflies for some guys being back in that environment. Because there's some big names, and to hear those boos, man, that's what it's all about.
It's hilarious that you want to hear the boos, but it's but it's so fun because the Georgia fans tomorrow will absolutely, undoubtedly boo the Auburn guy and the Florida guy. That's just the way it's gonna go. And normally they would boo the LSU guy because that's what you're playing. But dude, you're their hero, man. We're going into a stadium that your name is on the stadium in the Ring of Honor. It's gonna be hilarious to watch.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We'll see. Time will tell. Might get some booze though.
I don't think so, Todd. All right, Todd McClure is with us for a couple more minutes. I do want to talk about the game itself. Hey, look, man, Georgia's awesome. I mean, they've lost one game in 2 years. Offensively, how do you think LSU starts to approach this football game?
No, I think you got to look at it. I think it's going to be tough to run the ball on that Georgia defense. And I think if we look back at the end of this game and LSU has the win, you're going to look back and see that Daniels lit it up in the passing game, and he also had some big runs. They're going to have him active. We're going to have to get some kind of running game going. I think we can handle it, Matt, though. I think, we have talent. We have playmakers. We're going to have to go create a few turnovers and get a few more opportunities to get it in the end zone because Georgia's a good football team. But I think if you say the Tigers don't have a chance to win, they have a chance. We got to go play a perfect game and create some turnovers.
Do you think that Jaden offensively let me ask you about the offensive line. How does this LSU offensive line hold up against, a Georgia pass rush which features a guy that may well be the first pick in the draft?
We'll see how it unfolds. But, those two freshman tackles have gotten unbelievable experience this year. And I think the stadium will be loud. So the silent count will factor in, but they're going to have to be creative with the game plan. Slide some protection towards him, try to help out in that way. Screen game, draw games got to be good also. And let them do what they do, get up the field and hurt them with the screen game. So it'll be interesting to see how this young group that I think has overachieved as an offensive line, see how they perform in the big game.
Yeah, man, it's not that. Look, they saw it with Will Anderson and with Dallas Turner at Alabama, and those guys they stuffed the stat sheet a little bit, but LSU was able to put up 30 points in the ball game. It'll be interesting to see if they can do it tomorrow. Flip it over though, Todd. If you're LSU and you're trying to scheme defensively against Georgia, and what we've talked about so much are those two freak show tight ends, who is the key for LSU, or what is the key for LSU defensively?
Man, I think it's been the key all year for our defense. I think it's Harold Perkins. It'll be interesting to see how they match him up. If they try to take those tight ends away with him, or if they get him up the field and rush the passer. I think Texas A&M had a good game plan against us. They didn't want to put our guys in a situation where they're best. They ran the football and didn't let our athletes rush the passer. So we need to get Georgia in some down the distances where we can get after the passer and be creative with some of our defensive packages.
Hey, man, one more before I let you go. And, man, I always appreciate you, and I'm fired up for you. I know you got an event coming up here in a few minutes. But regardless of what happens, tomorrow or bowl game, whatever, as a former player, when you step back and sort of, from a player's perspective, evaluate year one under Brian Kelly, what has stood out most to you aside from, obviously, they're in the SEC championship game, but, what do you think is the most impressive or important thing for him building moving forward?
You know, I think the thing you look back over this year, and I was talking with somebody a couple of days ago, this team, in my opinion, has gotten better every week. You know, you hadn't really seen us regress until last the inning game. You know, it wasn't up to what our standards here of late, but we've gotten better every week. And then after those first couple of weeks, you started to see a team buy into their head coach's philosophy, which it looked like there was a few of them bucking it early. But when you have success, coach has some new demands on the team. They started to have some success and buy into it, and they got better every week as the season went along.
Man, if that continues, you know, as you look ahead from week to week, from year to year, well, there's a ton of reason for optimism about this program as we move forward. But in the meantime, man, let's get the Tigers to get a win tomorrow, shock everybody, hoist another SC championship trophy, and in the meantime, hear Todd McClure cheered by an awful lot of Georgia fans, which is going to be beautiful, a beautiful symphony tomorrow that I'm very much looking forward to.
Thank you, Matt. It's always fun coming on with you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Todd, you're the best, man. Enjoy your day tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, we appreciate it. That is the great Todd McClure. This is After Further Review. We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. 29 offices across 11 different states. Nobody does it better. When it comes to calibrations, weighing, measurement equipment, Michelli's the best because they make it convenient for you. They can come calibrate on site. You can ship your equipment to them. They can come pick it up for you, bring it back to their calibration labs, calibrate it, return it to you. It's about saving you time, making you more efficient, saving you money. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Check out the website. And remember, they are hiring. Just hit the careers tab at Michelli.com and apply to work for a business that's been in business for 75 years. That's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here downtown Atlanta from the Big Kahuna, brought to you by Hudco Roofing and also Rev Business. We appreciate our sponsors for making our broadcast here possible. Quick reminder, tomorrow, Hanny and Musso will be live for Eagle 98.1 Game Day 5 hours prior to kickoff. So if my math is correct, Moose, what time are y'all starting Central tomorrow? Y'all start at 11 Central tomorrow or 10 Central tomorrow? He can't hear me. Don't worry about it. What time do y'all start tomorrow? 10 Central. Yes, okay. 10 Central, 11 Eastern. So if you're in Atlanta, you're going to be in Atlanta. They'll be live at the SEC Fan Fair. So that's in the Georgia World Congress Center. So if you want to stop by and see the guys, you could do that tomorrow. And then post-game is right back here 90 minutes after LSU beats Georgia right here at Big Kahuna. So come celebrate a Tiger win, a shocking SEC championship. I'm looking forward to hopefully an awesome day. All right, it's After Further Review. Ross Dellenger is going to be on site with us in about 30 minutes from right now. We're looking forward to that. And when we come back, let's get the Georgia perspective. Mike Griffith is going to jump aboard with us. Looking forward to talking to Mike. That's next here on a Friday edition of AFR from the Big Kahuna in downtown Atlanta, GA.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers. Nicholson, just south of campus, Bluebonnet, right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV. Remember, tomorrow, of course, game day. If you need a place to watch the LSU game or any of the games, you can watch at Pluckers. They open at 11 a.m., so you want to get there, catch the early games, you could certainly do that, and stay late because Pluckers is open till midnight or later every single night of the week. I want to remind you, you got football tonight as well. You got North Texas against UTSA. Akron's taking on Buffalo as we speak. And then tonight, the big one at 7 Central on Fox. Utah, USC from Vegas in the Pac-12 championship game. You need a place to watch. Get by Pluckers. Also a great spot for your football Saturday and football Sunday. If you want to watch every single out-of-market game, you can do it at Pluckers. Dine in or carry out. Nicholson, Bluebonnet. They got delivery also via Uber Eats and DoorDash. It's Pluckers. Remember, at Pluckers, if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Live from the Big Kahuna in downtown Atlanta, after further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Back.
All right, welcome back here. We're at the Big Kahuna, downtown Atlanta, Georgia. LSU and the Dogs. Tigers Dogs for the SC Championship tomorrow. Mike Griffith, he covers the Bulldogs for DogNation.com. He's on Twitter at MikeGriffith32 and good enough to hang for a couple of minutes. Mike, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Man, this has got to feel like old hat for the Bulldogs at this point now because of their consistency in this game. Does this one feel any different for the collective Georgia program fan base than the others?
Well, yeah, because there's not Alabama or a historic LSU team on the other side. I mean, let's face it, they were up against it when they played against LSU in 2019. I mean, that might have been I think it was the best team of the modern era, and I guess my modern era goes back to the 1992 divisional split. I mean, to me, that was the best SEC championship team I've seen in my years covering the league, dating back to then. So it's a different feeling. Last year was Alabama. That's kind of been its own animal with Nick Saban and Kirby Smart and their relationship. And, Bryce Young working some magic last year and Jalen Hurts coming off the bench in 2018 and coming from 2 touchdowns down. So, it's a little bit different to, kind of be the heavy and maybe see a team on the other side of the ball that doesn't look quite as prolific as we're used to seeing from the West.
Mike, we've talked about this a lot this year as I've watched Georgia play a ton this year. And to say it flatly, there's times they just look bored. I think they've been so much better than everybody for basically 2 years now. It's like they're playing with their food. Am I missing it? Because the times we've seen them lock in, obviously, Oregon, Tennessee, they're the best team in college football by a mile. But is that symptomatic of this team where maybe they just look a little disinterested at times?
Well, I don't know about that. I think they're pretty beatable. I mean, I think there's teams that have had opportunities and didn't cash in. Now, there's been times they've been on top of their game. I don't know if I'd call it disinterest. I don't think Georgia's as dominant as they were from a personnel standpoint last year when they had 5 first-round picks off their defense and 15 NFL picks. Now, make no mistake about it, you could see 3 or 4 first-round guys here and maybe 8 or 9 draft picks. But, last year's team was historically great. This year's team has been the biggest rebuild in college football history. I can't find another NCAA team that lost 15 guys to the NFL draft and 13 guys to the portal and 4 guys off the coaching staff. But that's what Kirby lost. So the story of this year's team's really been a reload. It's been a favorable schedule that's given Georgia some grace and opportunities to get better as the year's gone on. But they've been beatable at times. I mean, Georgia Tech outplayed them through the first 30 minutes. I mean, Georgia was up, I think, 10-7, but if Georgia Tech doesn't drop a ball, they could have been up 14-0 in the second quarter. And, Kentucky just couldn't get anything going offensively. They bogged down in the red zone. It's a 16-6 game. That's only 1 touchdown for Georgia, right? And then Mississippi State, they were within, 3 or 4 at halftime. And then, so there's been time. Missouri was up 10 in the fourth quarter. I don't think this is just some dynamic Georgia team that can just turn it on. I think this is just a team that, really hasn't faced too great of it. The one great opponent they faced was Tennessee, and it was in Sanford Stadium, and the crowd was, incredibly loud and forced 6 false starts and created all sorts of havoc for Hendon Hooker. And then it poured rain the second half. So, I mean, I don't think this is some unbeatable force. Last year's team looked pretty unbeatable. This team, not so much.
It's interesting. Last year's team looked unbeatable, and then they got run in the SEC championship game. So it's interesting though. But you said, all right. So this team is beatable, Mike. Let's explore a little bit there. Where are the weaknesses then that can be exposed?
Well, if you put pressure on Stetson Bennett and make him go downfield, that's where he's been exposed. I mean, it starts out with stopping the run. It starts out with playing an aggressive scheme like Kentucky did and being able to press those receivers. I mean, although Ladd McConkey, he's their best outside threat, Ladd McConkey. A.D. Mitchell's been out all year with a high ankle sprain. Obviously, you've got to, play those safeties, on top of the tight ends. But other than that, you've just got to press outside receivers and put pressure on Stetson Bennett, keep him in the pocket. I mean, but you got to hold up at the line of scrimmage, and you've got to apply some offensive pressure. You've got to score some points, And when teams have done that, they've had success and been in the game. Like I said, Missouri was up 10 in the fourth quarter. Missouri.
Yeah.
That was not an optical illusion. That really happened. Georgia Tech was, I think, outgained by 50 yards in the first half of Sanford Stadium, and that wasn't an illusion. Georgia Tech went right down the field and scored. That's something a lot of teams haven't done is score early. And, Georgia's only trailed at the end of the first quarter twice all year. Missouri was one of them. And they've only given up 1 touchdown in the first quarter. So I think it's going to be really important for Brian Kelly and his staff to be able to scheme some things up and, get out in front of Georgia and kind of take them out of their comfort zone. Otherwise, Kirby's just going to pound the ball and wear the other team down.
Yeah. The really interesting thing about that Missouri game, Missouri kicked 5 field goals. So obviously you got to be able to finish in the red zone if you're LSU. I want to dig a little deeper though on that Georgia defense. I think everybody knows all the names. Like it was so as great as that team was, they kind of called themselves the no-name defense a year ago. Oddly, you've got potential number 1 overall pick in that defensive front this year. What about the secondary? If LSU's going to be able to make plays, how good is that Georgia secondary? Where might they be susceptible?
Well, they're susceptible if you give the quarterback time to throw. Keely Ringo has kind of been feast or famine. He's made some big plays. He's gotten beat deep. But the whole key is to give your quarterback enough time or for your quarterback to buy the time. I don't think there's any quarterback corner that can, cover indefinitely. The reason they were called the no-name defense was, I started that after, I want to say maybe the 2019 season I think they had the number one defense in the SEC, and they only had one guy make all SEC.
Right.
And then at the start of last year, the USA Today didn't have any Georgia guys on their preseason first team on offense or defense last year. So it kind of played into it and was kind of accentuated. Like, it was more of a joke. Like, nobody's really paying attention here. You know, it's kind of funny. Like, how do you not have anybody from Georgia make all SEC when they're number one in the league in total defense 3 out of 4 years? Well, because of the Alabama bias. We don't need to get into that. You probably experienced plenty of that at LSU. But to your point, you know, the way to set up the pass plays is by staying ahead of the chains and with able to, you know, pick up 4 or 5 yards on first down and find yourself in a 2nd and 5, 2nd and 4, or 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. You know, you put the defense in a run-pass conflict because that enables you to run or pass. But you get behind the change in a 2nd and 10 or 3rd and 8, you know, you're making yourself pretty predictable, and you're going to have a hard time beating Kirby if he knows what you're doing.
He is Mike Griffith on Twitter at MikeGriffith32, dognation.com. You want to go follow the Bulldogs there. I always like to ask about special teams as well, Mike, and that's been if I'm just calling it honestly, that's been a bit of a fiasco for LSU all season long. You know, last time LSU played Georgia, Rodrigo Blankenship was pretty, I don't want to say automatic, but was obviously really good. Podlesny is the kicker now and has been pretty good. How confident are you if it comes down to a kick, or should Georgia be if it comes down to a kick that they got the guy that's going to drill it?
Yeah, he's been more reliable than Rodrigo in the clutch. I mean, he hit the 50-yarder against Cincinnati in the Peach Bowl in 2020.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's got a chance to finish as the most accurate kicker. And, you know, Rodrigo actually missed some pretty key kicks. He missed a key kick against South Carolina in their only home loss since 2017. He missed a field goal against Alabama in the SEC championship game. This guy's better. This guy's more accurate. You know, Rodrigo was a great kicker and an All-American and, you know, a celebrated figure, very popular, you know, with the respect to specs, goggles, and all that. Jack Podlesny's been a lot more low-key, but you look pretty close at those numbers, you'll find out that he's actually been more accurate.
Yeah, man. Yeah, if it does come down to a kick, I think the style of the game would play into LSU's hands. I think most people, Mike, obviously are going to pick Georgia to win this game. Understandably, they're a 17.5-point favorite. If LSU does shock the collective college football world and manage to beat Georgia tomorrow in Atlanta, how do you think it looks?
Turnovers, big plays, Jaden Daniels, you know, making big plays. You know, you got to hope the guy's healthy. I mean, he needs to be elite. You know, he's got elite speed when he's 100%, escapability, and can buy time and break down defenses. And the LSU defense is going to have to, you know, create havoc. They're going to have to force Stetson Bennett into turnovers. And he's had turnovers in 3 of the last 5 games. He had 5 interceptions in 3 games over this last 5-game period. Now, if you take a look at the Georgia run-pass ratio, Kirby's been pretty careful to keep the ball on the ground where he can. That's where a fast start is so important, and forcing Georgia to throw the ball. You know, turn them over, control the clock. I mean, Kirby's 55-1 when Georgia scores 30 points. So I don't think you really want to get into a scoring contest as much as, you know, you want to take advantage of turnovers and be able to sustain drives. I mean, Brian Kelly knows. Brian Kelly outcoached Kirby Smart in 2019. They lost in Athens, but that was because of the crowd. Once again, I mean, Georgia's crowd is so underrated, and I know Tiger Stadium is epic too, but, you know, Georgia's crowd in 2019 against LSU caused 6 false starts, and yet there was Notre Dame driving for a potential game-winning touchdown in the last minute, and Georgia was considerably more talented than Notre Dame. So Brian Kelly's a great coach. I don't know, you know, if he's got the horses this year. Obviously, this is a guy that's only going to make LSU better year after year after year. So, you know, you got the coach, you've got a dynamic quarterback you hope is healthy, you've got some playmakers on defense, and LSU's done this before. Hey, listen, guys, I was here in 2001. I was a Tennessee beat writer, and there was no way that Tennessee team was going to lose to LSU in 2001 until they did.
Yeah.
So I'm not counting LSU out of anything in this game.
I was there in 01. Mike, I was also in Athens for the 04 LSU-Georgia game, and I can attest that's a loud crowd. they can cause problems for a lot of teams. He is Mike Griffith on Twitter at MikeGriffith32, dognation.com. Mike, we appreciate it, man. Look forward to seeing you in the in Mercedes-Benz Stadium tomorrow.
Yep. All right, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Be well. Mike Griffith does a great job covering the Bulldogs. We appreciate him. All right, it is after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Love telling you about Shawbill's Tire and Auto Service, shawbillstire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name-brand tires at wholesale prices. That's Shawbill's. If maybe you're driving to Atlanta, you need that oil change, the tires rotated, squeaking brakes, check engine light on, or that problem pops up on your way home, or maybe you just need new tires. They'll sell you name-brand tires at wholesale prices. That's Shawbill's. Find the location nearest you at shawbillstire.com, shawbillstire.com. Shawbill's, where we keep you rolling. All right, we are here at the Big Kahuna in downtown Atlanta. Our coverage here this weekend brought to you by Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Do business with someone you know. That's Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com, and presented by Rev Business as well. We appreciate our sponsors for making our broadcast here in Atlanta possible. Okay, quick break. Wrap up hour number one. There is a report out there about Matt House being linked potentially to the Cincinnati job. I want to talk about that briefly to wrap up hour number one. And then Ross Dellenger on site with us here to start hour number two. Glad to have you hanging out with us here on a Football Friday edition of AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Baton Rouge General Hospital. brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org for the Baton Rouge General Hospital. Of course, the holiday lights display right now. If you're going down Bluebonnet, you can't miss it. So going down Bluebonnet directly across from the mall, you'll see the setup of the holiday lights. And it's really cool for residents to just walk through, man, see the holiday lights, the dancing tree lights that go along with the music. A cool way to get festive, enjoy, bring the whole family. Go to brgeneral.org for ticket info. Again, brgeneral.org. You can find out how you can get in and where you can walk, where you should park, all the logistics. It's all there at brgeneral.org. It's something that the Baton Rouge General does, a great service to enhance the holiday for our community this time of year. It's the Baton Rouge General Hospital. Expanding healthcare in the Baton Rouge area, again, online at brgeneral.org. That's brgeneral.org. To learn more about the Mayo Clinic Care Network, it's the Baton Rouge General Hospital, brgeneral.org.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit.
We get it done with passion for our fans
and love for our community.
We are the Tigers.
Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. Embattled contractor Kelly Sills with Coastal Bridge dealt a big blow in federal court. Former employees accusing him of leaving them high and dry and not paying their health premiums. He tried to get their lawsuit dismissed after they were saddled with debt. A federal judge said no. I'm Chris Nakamoto. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more.
Live from the Big Kahuna in downtown Atlanta, after further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Toss to Vincent, goes right, gets good blocks. Here comes the speed game. Jones from behind, cannot catch him. Needs another block. Thornton is hit by the official. And here's the touchdown from 87 yards away.
The sounds of Vern and Gary, 2003, then freshman Justin Vincent, 87-yarder, the tone setter as LSU would go on to pound Georgia, making it 2 wins in the same season for the eventual national champions. My goodness, what a night that was in the Georgia Dome. And you know, the game is moved from the Georgia Dome to Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which is it's a little bittersweet. Mercedes-Benz Stadium is gorgeous, and it's the nature of progress is that a lot of the old venues are being demolished and newer stadiums are being built all over. But man, LSU had so many amazing memories in that Georgia Dome, from winning that 96 Peach Bowl, the 2000 Peach Bowl, the 2001 SEC Championship, the 03 SEC Championship, of course, lost there in 05, won there again in 07 against Tennessee. Just a legacy of amazing performances in that building, and Justin Vincent's performance in 2003 was incredible, because LSU knew when they were leaving that building that night that they were playing for a national championship, and it was special to be there and to watch LSU leave no doubt after the 17-10 win in Baton Rouge earlier that year. And a lot of people thought that maybe Georgia was the better team, and LSU just got lucky on that day. And during the rematch that Georgia would make amends, but LSU was not to be denied. They were the best team in college football in 03, and that was a statement moment in that game with Justin Vincent ripping off the 87-yarder. JV sat in this seat where my arm is, as a matter of fact, earlier today on Handy Time. So if you missed any of Handy Time, an extended special 3-hour edition of Handy Time earlier today, you can catch that on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. For all of you watching on YouTube, shout out, thank you so much. Please take a quick second and smash that like button. We do appreciate you for watching there, and on WBTR in Baton Rouge. It's channel 19 on Cox. And channel 144 on Rev, 36.1 if you got the antenna. So we appreciate y'all for being there with us, watching our coverage here from Atlanta, brought to you by Hudco Roofing and Rev. Matt House's name has popped up as a candidate for the Cincinnati head coaching job. Of course, Luke Fickell left Cincinnati to go become the Wisconsin head football coach. House, in his first year, you all know, had previously been at Kentucky, was in the NFL with the Kansas City Chiefs, left Kansas City to come to LSU, previously a stint at Pitt as well. But House is one of those guys that's on the list. Bruce Feldman has Matt House's name on the list. I don't mind sharing this. What I've been told is that that is unlikely. It is very unlikely that Matt House will be leaving LSU, that he would get the Cincinnati job, considering some of the names that are there. But it's something that we'll continue to watch here in the next couple of years. And I'm going to continue to say this as well. That's a good thing. Not that you want to lose good assistants, but when you are a successful program, other teams look to poach your coaches. And that is it happens to Nick Saban every year, and it's happened at LSU plenty. I'll continue to point out in particular on the defensive side of the ball. Remember, Brian Kelly, his defensive coordinators that he had at Notre Dame, Bob Diaco became a head coach. Clark Lee, now the head coach at Vanderbilt. Mike Elko left Notre Dame for A&M and is now the head coach at Duke, had a great year at Duke. Marcus Freeman, defensive coordinator, who's now the head coach at Notre Dame, who replaced Brian Kelly. My point is, Brian Kelly, I wouldn't fear losing Matt House. Brian Kelly has a long enough track record to show he is great at identifying defensive coaching talent and bringing them onto his staff. So I can understand sort of the trepidation, the fear of losing assistants. That's always sort of lingering there with any fan base. But you want good assistants that are going to get an opportunity, that are going to do a great job and get an opportunity to advance in their career. You always want that. It's a sign and symptom of a good, healthy program. So, the days of Mickey Andrews being the OC at Florida, or the DC at Florida State for 30 years or whatever, that's just not going to happen. So, but what I've been told is that Matt House, it is not likely that he gets that Cincinnati job. But just to have his name mentioned is how that sort of starts, where agents drop names and you get interviews. That's how you begin to be connected with openings when they come. It's going to happen for Matt House eventually. I just don't think it's going to happen in this coaching cycle. All right, it is After Further Review. That's a button on hour number 1. Ross Dellenger set to join us here on site to kick off hour number 2. We're excited about that. I want to talk to Delly about the Rose Bowl. He did a great job reporting on all that. Hour 2 next.
AFR.
As we wrap up hour number 1 here from the Big Kahuna, let me remind you about the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. Again, that's theantiagingclinics.com. The Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana voted the nation's best aesthetic practice. And whatever it might be, if you're looking to feel or look like your younger self, they can help. Hormone replacement therapy is a great option for many, men and women. No matter your age, if you want to feel like your younger self, maybe hormone replacement therapy is the option. A simple blood test can let you know. And all throughout the month of December, they've got great gift card specials. Buy gift cards, that unlocks great incentives as well, and giveaways with every single gift card purchase that you buy all December long at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Nearly half of children in foster care drop out of school. But you can rewrite that story. Children and youth with CASA and GAL volunteers are more likely to succeed in school. Change a child's story. Become a volunteer today.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Is sports. I'm Kevin Winter. Championship weekend has arrived in college football. First of the Power 5 championships comes tonight. Pac-12 championship in Las Vegas. Coverage on ESPN Radio begins 2 hours from now. They'll kick just a little bit after 8 Eastern this evening. Number 4, USC. Number 11, Utah. Winner is crowned Pac-12 champion. And for the Trojans, should they win, they pretty much secure a spot in the college football playoff. The rankings and the teams will be revealed on Sunday. 7 Eastern time tonight, Pac-12 championship. Doubleheader tomorrow. Split doubleheader. Dr. Pepper Big 12 championship with TCU, trying to be undefeated. They take on Kansas State. And then the nightcap, the ACC championship. At the FIFA World Cup, group play is done. Moving on from Group H, South Korea and Portugal. Uruguay goes home. Brazil and Switzerland move out of Group G. United States takes on the Netherlands tomorrow in the knockout round. Christian Pulisic given the all-clear. U.S. and Netherlands, 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Live from the Big Kahuna in downtown Atlanta, Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Big Kahuna in downtown Atlanta.
Let's ride!
Off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR. Friday show is brought to you by Don Juan Cigar Bar. But we are in Atlanta today at the Big Kahuna downtown Atlanta. Fired up to be here. LSU, Georgia, the SEC Championship. As we've said many times, you're in the game. For only the 7th time in program history, LSU in the SEC Championship games. 5-1 in the previous 6. See if they can pull off maybe the most improbable of them if they're able to do it tomorrow. Ross Dellenger, Sports Illustrated. He'll be in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium tomorrow, but right now he has the distinct honor of sitting to my left. Thank you for coming by. Deli, we appreciate you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
How much of an honor now?
I know.
Right? How about that? You called me the mouth that you brought your dad.
Mouth of the South.
You brought your dad and called me the mouth of the South.
Yes,
how about that?
Right.
That's kind of rude.
No, I don't think it's rude. It's a compliment of the highest degree.
Is that a compliment of the highest degree?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Of course it is.
I'll take it. Do you? We're going to do 2 segments with Ross because I want to talk about the future of the college football playoff. By the way, very nice job reporting on that for, a year and a half now?
18 months.
I mean, really, it kind of started last year around SEC Media Days, didn't it?
Yeah, it was presented the proposal June 2021. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. And then now it's finally pushed through. But I do also want to talk about the game. Which would you like to start with?
We can talk about the playoff first.
Okay.
We want to get that out of the way.
Okay. Following your reporting, and you did a very good job throughout this entire thing, it felt like the biggest surprise to you was that it took so long. Why did it take so long to get this done when it felt like it was, pretty obvious this was always going to happen?
Well, I think there's a few reasons. Delivered a beer. There we go. All
So
right,
good.
while on air.
I love it.
Yes,
so
perfect, perfect.
So get a picture of that. Deli drinking on air.
There is a bunch of reasons. I would say the first reason was the SEC taking Oklahoma and Texas, and that coming out in July, a month or so, 6 weeks after the proposal was introduced. And what happened there is it fractured the room of commissioners. I mean, the other commissioners were, not happy, maybe a little jealous, right? That the SEC got Texas and Oklahoma. And look, there were other conferences that were in the mix to get Texas and Oklahoma, and they didn't, specifically Texas. And so I think that fractured the room. There was a little, certainly some animosity build up in that room. I think, because Greg Sankey was on that subcommittee, right, that created the proposal, that some other commissioners, and we know it, right, the alliance was formed between Big Ten, ACC, and Pac-12 after the Oklahoma and Texas news came out. There's a reason that followed, like they were gearing up to be against the SEC, and they did it in a way that was unfortunate and purposely delayed and dragged out the playoffs. So that was number one. And then I think the latest thing, number two, was the Rose Bowl, right?
Yeah.
In the Rose Bowl was the last kind of holdout. The CFP, the playoff has a agreement with ESPN, a 12-year agreement. It's with ESPN in the 6 legacy bowls that are part of it. And all 7 had to be on board. The 6 legacy bowls in ESPN had to okay amending the contract to expand early. And everybody else did, except the Rose Bowl into the final minute. Obviously went right up into the final minute. They pushed it all the way with negotiations because, as we've reported over and over, they wanted to keep their date and time. Kudos to the CFP. They said no. You're not keeping your date and time. We're not guaranteeing that for future playoffs. You're either in, and if you're in, we'll expand immediately in 24, as early as we can in 24. If you're out and you don't agree to it, we'll wait. We'll expand in 2026, and guess what? You probably won't be included.
Yeah. Whose decision was it to push the Rose Bowl with that? I guess we can call it an ultimatum.
Well, that goes to the president's.
And why the
CFP.
timing? Was that deadline artificial, or was there something, like you said, that had to be done by that date?
Well, so the original deadline was January for everybody to agree. Of course, the commissioners weren't going to agree. And that deadline's there because in 24 and 25, the championship games have already been picked. The location's been picked. The dates have been picked. Well, if you expand the playoff, you got to push those dates back. They push back, I think, a week, maybe, or 2.
Okay.
So dates got to be moved back. And Atlanta and Miami have space they're holding. They're holding this space, and they got to be notified, within a certain time. So they were waiting and holding the space. So January was the deadline. They blew through that, obviously. Then they kind of set a new deadline, I heard, of October. They blew through that. And then finally the CFP in Atlanta specifically, here, because 24, the championship game is here in Atlanta. And they're kind of like, hey, look, we got to know.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody's reported this, but the media hotels and team hotels and stuff, because they moved the date, it's so late, they're going to be outside of downtown. They're not going to be. They're going to have to go to the suburbs.
No kidding.
Yeah, I believe that's going to happen unless something changes.
Wow.
Because it's so late. So they kept moving the deadline, and finally, Bill Hancock in the CFP board chair, Mark Keenum, finally gave, the Rose Bowl an actual drop dead. Into the November, if you don't get back to us, we're done. We're going to tell Atlanta, you can release the convention space, you can release the hotel space.
Wow.
We're going to not expand until 2026.
So and that's so interesting thing. So you're still 2 years though away, and Atlanta doesn't have hotel.
No.
2 years.
They've got a convention that weekend already booked. A big convention downtown already booked.
That's
All
incredible.
the space is already booked.
That's incredible.
I know the amount of hotels and stuff here, right? Everything is already booked up. And honestly, Miami has a little more inventory, I was told. So they were a year later, 2025. But usually you make all this stuff 4 years in advance.
Wow.
4 years you usually make all this, 3 to 4 years in advance. This is 2 years.
It's pretty incredible that it's transpired the way that it has. So, but we're going to have an expanded playoff for the 2024. So not next year, but the following season.
Correct.
Right. What is most notable, or what has been maybe the most notable reaction that you've seen within college football to this news?
It's been a little surprising. I think the vast majority of people are excited about the expanded playoff and more teams. But actually, what I've found, and I just see it on social media, really, and look, 7% of America's on social media, so I try not to take that too seriously, but there actually has been more pushback against it. There's been more people than I thought that are not in support of expanding and want to stay at 4 or rather 8 or 6. And that has surprised me. I don't know what the percentage is. I would say in like my mentions or reaction, it's at least, I don't know, a good 1/5, 20% that is like not for this. And that kind of surprised me. I mean, overwhelmingly they're for it, but that's been an interesting reaction to see. And then, of course, everybody is trying to project, this year. If the 12-team playoff were around that right now, going in this weekend right now, it's kind of anticlimactic. The only game that really going to impact the 4 teams is probably tonight out into the Pac-12.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Michigan and Georgia and TCU lose. I guess it depends on how TCU loses maybe, but I think they're probably still in. USC is the one. If USC wins, it's in. USC loses, Ohio State probably is in. And so you got 1 out of 10 championship games that really are impactful. In a 12-team playoff, 6 of the 10 championship games would have some impact. And this one in particular, LSU wins this game in a 12-team playoff, they're getting a bye. They're getting a bye.
Because as a conference champion?
They're getting a bye.
Okay.
Yeah. So the 6 highest ranked conference champions get in, right? Automatic in. The 4 highest ranked conference champions get the bye. You have to be a conference champion to get the bye. LSU, because of the rankings, if they would beat Georgia, they would be probably one of the 4 highest ranked conference champions, because you'd have, because Georgia wouldn't count. So Georgia would be out. So they wouldn't be able to get a bye. Yeah. So all these games would matter much more.
It's funny how people argue that it makes the season matter less. Everything matters more, because even if it's just getting in, it's are you getting a bye? Are you getting a home game? All of that, of course, matters tremendously.
I think the only negative impact, there's 2 negative things about the format. Otherwise, I really like it. I think it's great. I think they've thought it out well. I think it's a good format. The one negative thing is, and speaking to those people, right, is that some regular season games, especially those maybe in early November, probably don't matter as much, because that team is going to get in, I guess, anyway, with, a loss or 2. So, but, these it still matter. Like, the example that somebody used to me was maybe like the Tennessee-Georgia game. Well, everybody was focused on that game because basically it's a playoff game. The loser's probably out, and that's what we're going to see, right? The loser's out. Tennessee's not getting in.
But Tennessee's not getting in.
Right.
Because they gave up 63 to South Carolina.
True. That's true.
Look, they were 5th. They would have been in the catbird seat anybody when LSU when LSU lost to A&M. Tennessee, had they beaten South Carolina, would be in.
Okay, well, that's a good point. So let's look at that game. So the Tennessee-South Carolina game, which for them was you got to win.
You got to win.
And they lost. In a 12-team playoff, they're still in. They would be in. They would be one of the 6 highest ranked at large.
But instead of potentially, they wouldn't have a bye, but instead of having a home game,
they'd be one of the low seeds. You'd be like a 10 seed.
You'd be traveling. You'd be traveling in the first round.
So it's always for
matters.
Something. Yes, it's always for something. The other bad thing, and we've talked about this before, I know on your show. The other bad thing is the quarterfinals.
The group of 5. They're letting the group of 5 in.
No.
They're letting the little kids in.
No.
They're giving one of those precious spots to one of the little children.
The quarterfinals at the bowl.
That don't deserve it.
The quarterfinals at the bowl. Quarterfinals need to be at campus stadiums. I think that's something in future iterations of the playoff we're going to see. So that's the only real problem with the format, is that I wish I get bowls being semis. I get a neutral site championship. A quarterfinal, I feel like, needs to be at an on-campus stadium, just like the first round.
I agree. And the children shouldn't be allowed to participate. If you're one of the 12 best teams in the country, okay. If you're one of the 12 best, okay.
I've told you about this before, this argument. I get your argument. One of 2 things has to happen here. Either the group of 5 does its own thing and splits off,
which they won't, because they want the money for being associated with the P5.
Or you've got to give them something. Every group of 5 team can't start a season knowing they can't get in, and that's what happens now.
Yes, you can, because it's your choice.
No other sport is like that.
It's their choice to play in the FBS, where good and well going in, you have no shot.
But you'd be surprised. The Power 5
ULL is not and never will be on the same playing field as LSU, ever. Ohio U will never, ever be on the same level as Ohio State, ever.
You'd be surprised at the amount of Power 5 decision makers that do not want the group of 5 to leave, because guess what? They're wins.
They want the wins. Yeah. That's why those games exist.
It's never going to happen.
I know.
It's never going to happen.
That's why
you got to give them a little entrance. You got to give them a little. And there's
just
one spot.
All they want is their check to come and take their ass whipping.
1 of 12, man. it's not that big of an ask.
Except for the 12th team that's left out. That's worthy because a team ran through a Sun Belt schedule and got it.
And in the past, I now pulled up the teams that would be left out, and yeah, there's a lot of SEC teams. There's a couple of Auburn teams I know, maybe an LSU team the last 8 years
that PJ Fleck Central Michigan team, give me them in the playoff. The hell out of here. Anyway. All right, Delly's going to hang out. I want to talk LSU Georgia with Delly when we come back. It is after further review. Stay here. AFR. We are downtown Atlanta, and we are brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. They're online at lainsurance.net, lainsurance.net. Better coverage for less money. That's Insurance Network of Louisiana. Insurance Network of Louisiana, man, they do awesome work and have for such a long time. If you need better coverage for less money, if you feel like or you're not sure if you're overpaying for your insurance coverage, let Insurance Network of Louisiana shop independently for free to see if they can find you better coverage for less money. That's Insurance Network of Louisiana. It's that simple. You call them, they take a little bit of information from you, then they get to work. They shop independently for free to see if they can find you better coverage for less money. It's that simple. You pay nothing. This isn't a call and then they upsell you something. That's not how this works. It's literally they have relationships with dozens of the top-rated insurance providers in the world who shop independently for free to see if they can get you better coverage than you currently have for less money than you currently spend. It's that easy. Call Insurance Network of Louisiana, 293-0450, or online at lainsurance.net. That's lainsurance.net for Insurance Network of Louisiana.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Of youth who grow up in foster care are homeless 18 months after aging out of care. But you can rewrite that story. Children and youth with CASA and GAL volunteers are more likely to find safe, permanent homes. Change a child's story. Become a volunteer today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007.
Live from the Big Kahuna in downtown Atlanta, after further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Matt Mock came on in place of an injured Rohan Davey. Dominic Davis came on in place of an injured LeBrandon Tofield. Nick Saban's team prevails, deservedly so.
One of my fondest memories as an LSU fan. I was a student at LSU. LSU upset Tennessee, number 2 Tennessee, in their first ever SEC championship appearance. Ross Dellenger's with us here on site at the Big Kahuna. Can I tell you like a very quick story about that day?
Fire away.
My dad at the time was Lamar Advertising. My dad was their corporate lawyer. Lamar had a plane. The morning of that game, somehow I ended up on that plane. Flew to Atlanta. This is like Lamar. Great people. I mean, I had nothing but good things to say about Lamar. One amazing, wonderful company, great people. I mean, they were great to our family for 20 years when my dad worked there. But I had no business being on that plane. I don't know. I still don't know how. But I got on the corporate plane for Lamar with my dad. We flew, and other people, flew to Atlanta. There's a limo that picks us up on the tarmac, drives us right in the front of the Georgia Dome. We go inside. LSU upsets number 2 Tennessee, stomping on orange roses. We walk out. Limo takes us to the private airport. Get back on the plane, fly home in time to watch Sports Center. That's how young. That's how young Matty Moe was ruined.
That'll spoil you. Yeah, that'll spoil real quick.
Yeah. But look, if LSU pulls the upset tomorrow, it would be a bigger upset by point spread than what happened in 2001.
What was the point spread then?
I believe it was about 7. Tennessee was about 7 point. Was a 7-point favorite in that game. That's where the line opened back in 2001. LSU had played Tennessee earlier that year, lost in Neyland, in a game I was also at. Young Matty Moe went to a lot of football games. I went to every game in my college career. It was an awful lot. It was a great time to be an LSU fan. But how improbable do you think it would be for LSU to win tomorrow?
Gosh,
give me a scale.
Before Texas A&M, before the Texas A&M game, I obviously thought it would be, more probable. I didn't expect what happened in College Station. I kind of expected that game to be close, but I didn't expect LSU to get beat by 2 scores. It would be improbable, but obviously, you just said, right? We've seen this team actually do kind of improbable things this year. I don't think anybody expected them to be here. I don't think anybody hardly expected them to beat Alabama or maybe Ole Miss, win at Florida. I mean, they've done some improbable things. This would be the biggest, obviously. So, I don't know what the chances are. I think they're probably pretty low.
I mean, there are metrics that would show that, like FPI says LSU's got a 17% chance to win the game. That sounds about right.
I was going to say 10 to 15. So that's
you play the game.
Yeah,
you play the game 10 times. LSU maybe wins it twice.
Right. I could see that. I talked to Commissioner Sankey earlier. We sat down and I gave him the kind of platform to support the SEC teams that are outside the top 4. Kevin Warren of the Big Ten commissioner has been stumping pretty hard for Ohio State. So I was like, Greg, you don't want to say something? And he not only did he say things about Alabama and Tennessee and how they should be in consideration, but he said, if LSU were to beat Georgia, they should be in consideration. And I said, well, a 2-loss team's never made it, let alone a 3-loss team. And he said, well, we're living in unprecedented times, are we not? Any conference champion merits consideration, but right at the top of that list is the champion from the SEC. So he was saying that earlier today. Obviously it's improbable for them to win, and then it's probably even more improbable that they would get in the playoff. But they would need a lot of craziness to happen, and even then.
I think we all agree. Even if LSU wins, they're not getting in the playoff. The best you can hope for, you win, you're in the Sugar Bowl, which would be right. a great
huge year. Yeah, huge first year. My gosh, SEC championship, Sugar Bowl. Yeah.
It'd be awesome. How many times have you had Georgia this year?
I have not covered it. This is my first Georgia game.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you haven't seen them in person this year.
I have not.
How many times did you see them last year?
Probably twice, once or twice. Yeah, well, I mean, I covered the national
championship game.
I feel like I covered them one at a time.
Did you cover the SEC championship game?
No,
last
I
year?
did not. Nope.
What about their playoff game against Michigan in the Orange Bowl?
No. Nope, went there. It must have been a regular season game.
Did you catch them in Sanford Stadium, maybe?
I must have.
Okay.
Yeah. Or either did they play a neutral site game? Did they play a neutral site game? They always seem to play a neutral site game. Maybe I covered them then. Why? What are you asking? What are you trying to get
I'm just
at?
trying to compare last year to this year when you watch the two teams.
Oh, like the Georgia of last year to this year?
Georgia last year, Georgia this year.
Yeah, I didn't expect their I mean, what's been better this year has been their quarterback, actually, right? I think in a lot of ways he's been better this year. Their defense hasn't been as strong, but I mean, gosh, that's kind of a tough comparison, right?
Clemson, 10-3.
Yes.
The 10
there you go.
The 10-3 game.
Yeah. So, and that's a great point because the defense last year was like absurd. But you know what? They're kind of similar. They kind of remind me of each other. I don't think their defense is quite as strong, and I think I think Stetson has been pretty hasn't better, if not about the same. Look at this guy. Peter Burns joined us with a what is that right there? Looks like, is that a little Red Bull in there?
That's watered down whiskey.
Red Bull and vodka?
That's iced tea, guys.
He's got iced tea.
Peter
Burns,
Peter
Burns, SEC Network just walked in, and so I said, hey, grab a headset. This is why I love doing these shows.
I feel like he's on a throne.
I know, that's why, I told Ross, I said, sit in that one because that one sits so much higher.
I feel like a gargoyle.
And now we put the super tall guy in the super tall chair in between us.
Yes.
Maybe we should all stand, but then he'd still be super taller than us too.
This feels good.
I don't blame you. I would want to sit there too. That's like it's a power move, like a judge, right? Sitting higher, looking down at everybody.
We ever watch on the Feinbaum show, whenever Feinbaum has his whole setup to where you're always looking up to the throne. Yeah. So that's the way it's set up. I did it because I saw that you were here, and I'm literally in the hotel room, and I'm just like, all right, get a little time to kill. And I was like, I feel bad because every time I'm in town, I Dellenger's over there, and I want to go hang out with him, and I'm like, oh, I'm over here. No, you're over here. Then he's like, oh, you're too elite. You can't go out there and hang out with those people anymore. And
no, you're not too elite. You hang out with us all the time. Or you talking about is Dellenger too elite?
No. He's too elite. Look at him.
Yeah, no, I know you're right. He's got the SEC logo. He's got the logo on his chest and everything like that too.
How are you feeling?
So when you
how are we feeling about this?
When you were sitting over there, I was asking Ross to compare this year's Georgia, last year's Georgia. So I'll ask you the same question. That's what we were in the middle of whenever you walked up with your iced tea.
Yeah. As far as comparing the two, it's weird because I felt like there was a nervousness. I felt like last year's Georgia team was better, right? But I felt like there was a nervousness around Georgia that I don't see it. Like, this team is more confident, and I think that comes from Kirby. Like, watching Kirby and, all of the stuff. Yeah, I do look a whole lot tired. I'll try to, sit down a little bit more for you guys. But it's weird because, we do that SEC Inside show, and we get a lot of...
You look like a giant.
This is great. Never felt so important in my life. But we get, all the uncut footage of all the stuff that comes in, and watching Kirby this year versus watching Kirby in years past is, night and day different. It's weird.
He's more relaxed this
Much
year?
more relaxed, right?
Because he checked off the box.
Dude, I can remember going to some of the first practices that Kirby had back in, I want to say, 2016, 2017, and it was spring practice, and it was every curse word out of the book. Every third down play of April 15 spring practice was the Super Bowl winning play. And I was like, man, how long can you go and coach that way? Go to the whip every single day. And then now when I watch him, winning the championship unleashed a different level of comfort that's scary as hell.
Okay.
Because it's still this intense passion to beat everybody's ass. Pardon, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
You can say that. Yeah, that's fine.
But what it is, it's also that he's not as rough on those guys as I think he was before. And to me, that the reason why I think Saban sometimes kind of lost, not because it lost a step or anything, but he would lose a lot of his staffers because he rode them into the ground.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Kirby, now that he's won that championship, now he gets to the point where he's like, all right, I got one. How do I make this more of an enjoyable run of the time that I didn't like when I was in Tuscaloosa?
I have to break. I know you said 2 segments, but can you stay? Or do you can go eat?
I mean, they do. No, I'm not eating. I was just saying they got more beer. My family's got more beers than other members of my family.
This is the Dellenger crew.
Yeah, the
I heard
Dellengers
about
are
this.
here.
Right here,
if you're
I can stay, yeah.
You're both welcome to stay for as long as you'd like. But I need to break real quick. Could you stay and enjoy your iced tea?
I'd love to do that.
Okay, we're going to knock out a quick break. Red Bitcoin, and our coverage is brought to you by Hudco Roofing and Rev. Stay here. AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Spell it out, O-N-E, 1hourbr.com for River City's 1 Hour Air. Right now, of course, man, it's actually freezing in Atlanta. Well, the low tonight's 48. Last night was like 39. But if you're back home and you're cranking up that heater, remember, before you do, or if you've already done it, and there's funny noises, funny smells, or you just haven't had it checked in a while, call River City's 1 Hour Air pre-season heater safety check. They'll save you $30 just for mentioning the Moscona special. They'll come out. They'll get your home central heater clean, tuned up, running efficiently for all these cold weather months. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001 or 1hourbr.com, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
3 people walk into a bar. The first 2 order the same old margs. The third, Nuevo Topo Chico Margarita Hard Seltzer. Crafted with real lime juice and a crisp tequila flavor. Topo Chico Margarita Hard Seltzer.
As a community bank, B1 Bank invests in relationships with the people and businesses we proudly represent. Our B1 bankers are here to help simplify the complicated, understand your needs, and make managing your finances easier. At B1 Bank, we offer an array of solutions to help simplify your transaction needs. B1 Bank, one highly personal banking experience. Visit us online at b1bank.com for more information.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward.
Live from the Big Kahuna in downtown Atlanta, after further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, we fixed it.
Been demoted.
We got Peter Burns in the kiddie table chair.
How's it look now on the screen?
And this is a little delayed, but you'll see it here in a second. So, anyway, Peter Burns, Ross Dellenger, good enough to hang out with us. Delly was supposed to be here for a segment. I've now conned him into 3, and Peter Burns walked up to get an iced tea.
Yeah.
And
cold beverage.
And we gave him a headset because that's. Hey, do you remember, Ross, the last time in 2019 when we were here? I'll sit down now.
Yeah.
You came to do a segment with me.
You're not even in the shot anymore on the live stream.
Thank you to everybody who's watching, by the way.
Nobody needs to see your face anymore.
A great number of live viewers on YouTube. Please smash that like button if you would. If you like seeing Peter Burns in the kiddie chair. If you're not watching, you can watch on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel or on WBTR in Baton Rouge. And this is one of the reasons worth watching it, because we've demoted Peter to a kiddie table chair. So now basically it's his bust up here, and you're actually still almost as tall as me. Yeah,
it's the hair.
It kind of is. All right. So we were when we were going to break, we were talking. You were talking about Kirby.
Yep.
After he won it, how he feels more at ease. I asked Mike Griffith this in hour number 1. I said Georgia at times this year looks bored, and he said they're not bored. They're just beatable. How beatable? I'll ask each of you. How beatable do you think Georgia is?
I think more beatable than last year. I feel like they were so good defensively last year, and they're good this year too. But I feel like last year they were better defensively until a point where, I just didn't expect anybody to score on them enough to beat them. Of course, Alabama did, but
scored 41 on them.
Yeah, I know. I still can't believe that game. But this year we've seen them allow some points. And we've seen every now and then, especially like against Missouri,
Kent State,
yeah, that was a struggle. Like they just kind of struggle to move the ball a little bit. So I do think they're beatable. And like I said earlier, like if LSU didn't have that performance against A&M, I would have really thought there was like a serious chance that LSU could upset Georgia. I just don't feel that way anymore. But.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the vibe. I think the vibe here is kind of one of those situations that you feel like it right now is like even around the city. Like I was here in 19. 19 was nuts. Now, of course, I was a special team, but other times that LSU here is here in the SEC championship game, it feels like LSU fans take over, and it doesn't have that same vibe so far here in Atlanta.
Is that because? So I've been fortunate enough to go to every one of these that LSU's been in.
Yeah.
And in the stadium, it's like always 80-20. LSU is this type pocket. I think the reason it feels like that around town is if you're Georgia, it's a day trip. I mean, they're not hanging out at the hotels.
Sure.
I mean, do you feel like that's part of it?
Yeah, but there is even like just in the attitude of the LSU fans here that it's like, and again, it's how you manage those expectations. If this bar of people, everybody here in this bar, if you ask them at the beginning of the year, okay, don't play out the season, but Brian Kelly's going to be in Atlanta right here with the LSU Tigers. Would you take it?
Yeah.
Who in their mind would have said no, they wouldn't have taken it? They would have taken it. And so there's like this pleasantly disappointed factor in the fact of the season where you look at this and go, yeah, how do I view it? Do I view it as like, holy hell, Brian Kelly made it here in the first year. This is awesome. I mean, like if the A&M loss had come in early in the last game of the year, you beat Alabama to get here, and all of a sudden you're going crazy, and the record's still the same. I know you don't view it that way, but that's how I'm trying to trick my brain into thinking about this game and going like, you talk about how valuable bowl practices are, and you get the 15 practices to play in the Citrus Bowl or Independence Bowl or the Weed Whacker Bowl, whatever it is. Is this not like
RIP
35 times more important to have an SEC championship kind of run through for Brian Kelly, for this team, for a lot of these younger guys that are going to be back?
Yeah.
I mean, again, I think to me that's how I've kind of viewed it, as like you playing with house money at this point. And that's why I would be disappointed if I don't see the game plan be fairly aggressive and to come out swinging. Like I'll be disappointed if all of a sudden you come out and just go, hey, we're going to try to ball control this thing and try to just keep it close and get into the fourth quarter. I know that's how coaches think, but I go back and look at what Satterfield did in that South Carolina blueprint against Tennessee, where I don't believe that they thought they could win that game until literally the day that they showed up and they looked in the eyes of Tennessee and they thought, well, we punched them, and they didn't respond. And they were super aggressive. I'm curious to see what the game plan is going to be offensively.
I agree, though. I think we all agree that's got to be the game plan. Like you've got to just rip it and throw and find your receivers downfield. Like you've got to be willing to take your shots and put it up.
And I look at it could be a win-win. Either it's a win for Jaden Daniels if all of a sudden if he can throw the ball downfield and let Neighbors and let Pute and let all these guys make plays, and if it happens, and you got a swinger's chance. If not, then all of a sudden, what happens with Jaden Daniels' future at LSU? That's what I'm kind of curious about.
What do you mean?
All right, if he comes out there and has a great game, is this the last game he's going to be playing in purple and gold?
Or scouts here.
There's going to be a lot of scouts, right? Yeah. So, but if he struggles, and you look at how name, image, and likeness is starting to play out, and it's a very deep quarterback class is coming out in the draft, do you look at this and go, maybe one more year, maybe with this team that we can kind of develop something, all of a sudden – the outlook for LSU football is a little bit different. Because I don't know how good – I mean, I would imagine Walker Howard's going to be good. I don't know how good he's going to be next year. And, I mean, you guys boots on the ground. What is the future?
Are you punting Nussmeier?
I just think that in the transfer portal world, I just saw Haynes King just announce that he was going to transfer. I think he lands over at UTSA. Would be a great fit for him.
Drew Pine, the Notre Dame quarterback, entered the portal today. Yeah. And he ended up going 8-1 as their starter.
Yeah.
I mean, when he took over after the loss to Marshall, right? Notre Dame lost to
Marshall.
Yeah, he took over after that and went 8-1 as a starter.
But that's the new world that we live in, is whether or not, I mean, there's only one QB, right? That's going to get that opportunity to play. So I don't know. I don't know more of the Nuss situation. Yeah. But to me, I think the future of Jaden is like, all right, with name, image, and likeness, a lot of times guys would be like, I might be a second, third round guy. Is it worth coming back? Well, maybe next year the field is not so crowded at the quarterback position to where Brian Kelly and name, image, and likeness says, we got a plan for you. We can run around what your game changer. How much is that worth? Is it worth more going to the NFL? And does Jaden even want to play in collegiate ball anymore? I don't know.
I've said, my audience knows, like I've said it many times, I think that's the biggest question. He was a guy that coming out of high school was a top 50 overall prospect who thought he was going to be 3 into the league. And some dudes are just ready to go. Some dudes don't want to play 5 years of college football. I think that's the question, Jaden Dan. Would he benefit from coming back? Absolutely. Undeniably, another year, of course he would be better. Does he want to be a 24, 25-year-old going into the draft? I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Only he can answer that. All right, a minute each. Game. What do you think happens tomorrow? You don't need to give like a prediction. Just what do you think? What's your score?
I don't have a score. I would have felt different had LSU looked better last time I took the field. But they are in a situation where it's like it's a true nothing to lose situation if there ever is, right? I mean, like they're not going to get in the playoff even if they win, and so. Just go for it. Just chunk it downfield. And unfortunately, I think that's probably that's the recipe for an upset. I don't have faith in them doing that against Georgia's defense, and I think Georgia pulls away in the end and ends up winning this one pretty comfortably.
Right, Ross Dellenger, noted Mississippi State alum who hates LSU.
Yeah, just let the hate shine here.
Peter Burr.
Well, noted LSU apologist and diehard fan. I feel pretty much the same exact way. I mean, at this point, I feel like there has to be some type of wow play, like some Superman play from Harold Perkins or Ojulari or somebody that has to do something early in that game to give it a little bit of wiggle.
Because turnovers from Harold.
Just something. Like I think it's some. I'm gonna stand up because that's ridiculous. That shot is ridiculous. Right.
Like, how can I take you seriously when you look like you look like a tiny person?
They're gonna think I'm Dari Noka right here at 5'1".
Oh no!
And he's coming around the stretch.
Cold.
Oh man!
I look at this and I just
such a good dude.
I just want to see. I just want to see some fight. And again, I think this is the future of LSU football. I mean, I think you could argue that this might be the worst team that Brian Kelly might have in Baton Rouge.
I agree. I think so. The way I said, I think it's going to end up being his least talented team.
Yeah. I mean, and I thought that was
it's not an insult to this team. It's just if you expect him to continue building, you would expect this to be the low water mark.
Right. And so I think, but I also think it's so imperative that you show fight here, but more importantly, I think the more important part of this is the bowl game, and you have to have a victory in a bowl game, no matter where you're going, no matter who you're playing, because to end off with the A&M loss, a bad loss in the SEC championship game, and a bowl loss, it really kind of takes the momentum going into transfer portal world and whatnot. So.
I'd agree. Has anybody in the media picked LSU to win that you all know of? Anybody you're aware of?
I haven't seen it.
I haven't.
Okay.
Nope, I don't think so.
I have not seen it.
I'm sure game day you'll have the 5 Georgia logos across the board.
I want to be one of those guys, but then I'm like, that's just such a homer pick, and I literally cannot see that playing out.
I did pick LSU to cover in our picks.
You didn't?
I did. I think it's 17.5 is what
so
I got it at.
Good teams win, great teams cover.
There you go.
So that's the important part of it.
I think that applies to when you're the favorite, you win and cover. Not when you're the underdog covering 17.5.
Don't think
I
too
would
hard
just,
about it.
I would just love. How would you love if Brian Kelly all of a sudden late in the game just throws for a touchdown and they're out and then they lose by 14 in the post game press conference? He's like, listen, we talked to the guys over at Harris. Just want to let you guys know I'm like. He would never say it. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Can you imagine it?
But what I would really recommend you do is use the DraftKings Sportsbook app.
I'm in.
And use the promo code Baton Rouge. Download that DraftKings Sportsbook app today.
All right.
How about that? DraftKings, official sports betting partner here of us on AFR.
Professional.
That's the DraftKings Sportsbook app. DraftKings.
Yeah, we heard
Peter Burns, Ross Dellenger, thank you all for indulging me and giving a lot of your time to our audience. We appreciate it very much.
Thanks, buddy.
Enjoy the game tomorrow. By the way, if you want to listen to a media member pick LSU, you may have a surprise at the end of the show. You might.
Way to give it away.
You might. I said you might. Well, we'll see.
Anything can happen.
We'll see how it goes. You can't hold anything back. It's the last game of the season. All right, we're not got a quick break. Wrap up hour number 2 next. Stay here. AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Siegen near Airline, LA16 and Denham, Mid-City on Don Moore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Tell you every day, buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery. Y'all check them out. Christmas trees, they got live and pre-lit trees at Clegg's Nursery. Also, all of your Christmas decor, they got you covered at Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations. So you can pick up that live tree. You can pick up the pre-lit tree. You can pick up poinsettias. You can pick up there we go. Sorry. I'm just making sure I have time. You can pick up any of your great Christmas decor for indoor or outdoor this holiday season. We're in a gigantic restaurant full of people that are all talking, and I have mics in my ear, and I should just not be doing that, but I am. We're brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. Right, 4 locations, Siegen near Airline, LA16 and Denham, Mid-City on Don Moore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
Blue Cross presents Flying Nacho!
Defense! Defense!
Defense!
Oh, ow!
Defense!
Oh, my eye!
Oh, sorry. Is that my nacho in your hair?
Being a fan isn't always a contact sport, but when the chips are down or in your eye, Blue Care is the right call. Blue Care, our telehealth service.
We get it done with passion for our fans
and love for our community.
We are the Tigers.
Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. Embattled contractor Kelly Sills with Coastal Bridge dealt a big blow in federal court. Former employees accusing him of leaving them high and dry and not paying their health premiums. He tried to get their lawsuit dismissed after they were saddled with debt. A federal judge said no. I'm Chris Nakamoto. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Nearly half of children in foster care drop out of school. But you can rewrite that story. Change a child's story. Become a volunteer today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Andrea.
Handoff, and pulling is going to be Burrow. Far side hash, 45, breaks a tackle at the 40. Go, Joe, go! 25, 20, 15, and brought down from behind around the Bulldog 10-yard line.
2019, one of many amazing plays by the GOAT, Joey B, in the SEC Championship game, a blowout win over the University of Georgia. And, of course, LSU were going to win the national championship. One of the very cool things that came of that is we got to meet our buddy Jordan Spector, artist who did the Burrow painting. You might recall the famous cigar photo, leg over knee. And one of the great things that Jordan did with that, of course, was donate proceeds to Dreams Come True of Louisiana. We've talked to Jordan a bunch over the years, over these last 3 years, and he and I were in touch, and he was commissioned by an LSU fan to do another painting, and Jordan wanted to come hang out here and unveil it. And it's just, so what's up, bro? It's good to see you again.
You too, man. It's been a long time coming.
For a kid from Philly who played ball at Temple,
yes.
like, could you have ever imagined being this deeply rooted in LSU culture now?
I never would have thought. Well, first of all, I only used to do like Philly sports artwork because that's what I'm mainly a fan of. That's where I come from. And then I quickly expanded once I started to gravitate towards certain players and just things that I was passionate about, especially Burrow that year.
Yeah.
And it's grown into such a cool thing now. You know, being able to meet cool people like you and other people in other markets. You know, it's so much fun.
Cool people like me. See, somebody thinks that I'm actually cool. But what's been really cool is, so you did the Burrow painting. We talked about it a ton on air. Still available if you want to pick up print. You can do like the paper print or the canvas, correct?
Yes.
Of it. It's at SpectorSportsArt.com. Is that right?
SpectorSportsArt.com.
Spector Sports, SPECTOR, SpectorSportsArt.com. So tell me about this, how this came to be.
Man, so, you know, it's funny. It's always a different situation how I get contacted, but this lady, Jennifer, she's a huge LSU fan. She actually lives in Georgia, though, surprisingly, and she's actually collected multiple pieces of mine. I think she got a canvas of the Burrow back in the day, and she's just loved my work ever since, and she just out of the blue was like, hey, I'm a huge Tigers fan. I want something that represents the history of the stadium and where they play and where I love to go, and this is what I came up with.
I don't know if you can see where, but like, check out how this looks on the shot right there. Like, I mean,
wow.
that looks pretty phenomenal, man. So if you're listening on radio, not watching, apologize. So Jordan was commissioned to do we would call this a stadium piece?
Yeah, stadium piece, yeah. Okay. For sure. My first ever, actually. I've never done a stadium piece yet, so it was definitely a challenge for me.
So it's a shot, it's a panoramic, it's a shot of Tiger Stadium from the south end zone looking at the north. You can see the detail like the Exxon plant, the Mississippi River Bridge. You can see the PMAC, downtown Baton Rouge, and so much of the skyline. And then the stadium and a lot of the really cool detail. What was – I would imagine that I know what is – what was the hardest part of this?
The hardest part was getting it even on both sides and making sure it aligns, because there's so much architecture here that when I'm doing faces and stuff, it can be more freehand. But this, I had to be really careful to make sure it doesn't look skewed. But the most tedious part, I think I told you, was the crowd.
Has
and
to be.
Just
has to be the crowd.
I mean, there's not 100,000 dots in here, but there's got to be like 50,000 probably.
I mean, it's so basically every person in the crowd is just a dot.
It's just a dot of color. Yep.
The detail is so incredible in this, though. It's awesome. I mean, it's I would imagine that this is going to become a very popular paint. You can see like the team is running out of their north end zone tunnel, and the opposing team, I would guess that's an A. So
Yeah.
I guess we know who the red team with the A is.
And luckily, my client, that was her idea. She's like, they have to be playing Alabama. And it's so cool now that they beat Bama this season, of all seasons, the way that they did, magical game. And, this is kind of like representing that game, if anything. But, yeah.
It's too stinking cool. We got about a minute before the hour ends. So what's next? So people can buy this now?
Yeah, so I do have a print and a canvas version available on my website, spectorsportsart.com. And it's a limited edition for now, actually, the print and the canvas I have. So I'm hand signing and numbering the first 99 that I have available. And, it's a very nice quality piece. This is the canvas that people can get. And I have the prints as well.
And you also did a Breeze piece a while back as well, which I know was commissioned as well.
I was able to give him one of those too. It was cool.
You gave one to Drew?
Yeah, I eventually flew out to San Diego through an invite of a friend, and I was able to get a couple prints signed by him, and I gave him a canvas. And
that's awesome,
it was cool.
Man.
It's just cool.
The LSU, and I got about 30 seconds.
Yep.
Was there a bundle available at one point where you could get all of the LSU art?
So on my site, up until this point, I've done a couple other LSU pieces as well. I've done the one of Burrow, and I did one of Burrow and Coach O, which is another really cool one that was commissioned by another LSU fan. So I do have those all on the website as a bundle, or you can buy one as it is.
Great holiday or Christmas presents this time of year.
Yep.
This is phenomenal. Welcome to Death Valley, the newest. It's available right now at SpectorSportsArt.com. SpectorSportsArt.com. Jordan Spector. Great to see you, dude.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, man. Top of the hour break. Tommy Moffett next. As we wrap up hour number 2, remind you about South Point Volkswagen, SouthPointVW.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at SouthPointVW.com. SouthPointVW.com. If you're in the market for a new vehicle or might be, and you've never thought Volkswagen, put Volkswagen on your list. Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer is South Point Volkswagen. They can give you a better deal because they move more inventory. And, of course, not only are you getting the great German engineering, the style, the feel, the performance of luxury that I tell you about all the time, power, everything, luxury, digital dash display, all of it, smart vehicles. But you're also supporting American jobs because they're manufactured right here in the USA at their Chattanooga, Tennessee plant. It's South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. You can shop them online, new and certified pre-owned. Go to SouthPointVW.com. For South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction?
Blue Cross presents Flying.
Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside off the bench anytime. Hunt and Hill. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045 ESPN.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCoRoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Elite Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite has more taste and only 96 calories. It's Miller time.
Playoff rankings, the final ones are revealed on Sunday. Georgia, Michigan, TCU, USC. Those are your top four. They're in right now. All four are playing for a conference championship this weekend. And we have two of them here on ESPN Radio. They win, they're in. If one loses, likely slide Ohio State in. If two lose, well, Alabama says hello. And there's your chaos. Or just people screaming. Tonight, USC and Utah, number 4, number 11. From Las Vegas, the Pac-12 championship comes your way an hour from now, exclusively here on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. USC trying to avenge its only loss of the year, mid-October, final play of the game, under a minute to go on a 2-point conversion. At the 2022 FIFA World Cup, Christian Pulisic, good to go for the United States tomorrow morning against Netherlands. The knockout round begins, joining the U.S. and, well, everyone else in the knockout round. South Korea, Portugal, they're through from Group H. Brazil and Switzerland from Group G.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive offers a great price and round-the-clock protection when bundling home and auto. It's one of those rare times where you could save money and get something great. Bundle today at Progressive.com.
Live from the Big Kahuna in downtown Atlanta, Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Big Kahuna in downtown Atlanta. Let's ride!
Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. We are in downtown Atlanta at the Big Kahuna. Fired up to be here. Great crowd. Been here all throughout the day. Getting ready for LSU and Georgia tomorrow in the SEC Championship. Could not be more fired up to be here and to talk about this game as we get closer. Certainly appreciate HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com, title sponsor of all of our coverage here throughout the weekend in Atlanta, and also presented by Rev Business. A guy who has been part of all 6 of LSU's previous SEC championship games is Coach Tommy Moffett. And I am so pumped to have Coach jump aboard with us here for about 10 minutes via phone to talk about this week, this game, what it's like. And got a big one for the Bears tonight against John Curtis at Memorial Stadium. Coach is on his way out there to watch Brady tonight, but he's good enough to join us here. Coach, it's always a pleasure. How are you?
I'm doing great, Matt. Thanks for having me on.
Man, it's our pleasure. Coach, you've been part of 6 of these things, man, from all the way back in 2001. What's it like the week of the game in the SEC Championship, knowing you're one of only 2 SEC teams practicing?
Yeah, it's an emotional roller coaster. You know, you're excited about the opportunity, to represent the Western Division in the game, but then you're also, trying to stay focused on the task at hand and prepare the team, because you're playing against, probably one of the top schools in the nation, and you know that by winning that game, you're going to be in the hunt for a national championship. So kind of a roller coaster ride that you have to manage throughout the week of preparation.
Coach, do you or did you do anything differently, like physically, to prepare the guys this week than you would the rest of the season?
Well, that's a great question because every team that we took there was different. So it depends on what type of team you have, if you thought that you still needed to prepare, and then when your next game was going to be. So if you weren't going to play in a New Year's Day Bowl, or if you weren't in the hunt for a national championship, then you would back off on them a little bit, and, let all the work that you've done in the past, carry you through the game. But if you were, or if we were in the running for a big game, then you kind of did it like you did the regular season and trained right through it, knowing that you're a really good football team and you got a chance to continue playing. So just like anything, you got to continue working. So it just depended. There were teams, I remember in 2001, when we played Tennessee, our players, commented after the game that they felt stronger, playing Tennessee than they had any games, throughout the season. And I think in 2001, we played them in the regular season. Yep. And the players said that they felt stronger going into the SEC championship than they did the first time we'd played Tennessee. So, it just depends. Every team that we had was always different, and it's just a matter of what what the inventory says. Now, the key is you would always have a guy or two that had carried the load for you, whether it was a receiver or a running back or one of your secondary guys that was playing on a lot of teams. So those guys, you had to manage the fatigue factor. And if you were shallow on the defensive front, or you were thin up front on the offensive line, then that group of guys, you would back off on them to manage the fatigue factor. But if you were healthy and fresh going into the contest, keep training and look ahead.
Tommy Moffett's with us. I'm glad you brought up 01, because that's been the most common comp for this one, right? I mean, LSU was a pretty big underdog in that game and pulled off the biggest upset in SEC championship game history to this point. Do you see comparisons with this year and that year?
Yes, I do. And, so Jill and I had a bet going into the season. I said they were going to, go 8-3, and she said no, they're going to win more games than that. I'm telling you, they're going to win more games than that. So, Jill, 8-4. I said 8-4. Right. I keep thinking we play 12 games now, not 11. But anyway, so Jill won the bet, so I owe her $20. But yeah, there's a lot of parallels. I thought, especially, after the FSU game, I had a little bit of doubt, but the more they let Jaden do and the more they opened up the offense, the better they got. And so I'm not surprised. I knew that they had talent. I knew Micah Baskerville. If you remember on the show that I did with y'all, I talked about Micah Baskerville and the type of player he is and the leadership that he has. And so, the guys that I thought were going to do well did well. And so, sure, I thought they were going to be good.
Coach, I want to also ask you about Kirby, who, cut his teeth at LSU back in 03. Do you see hallmarks with these Kirby teams that maybe are rooted in a lot of what you all did in those days at LSU in the early 2000s?
Yeah, first of all, he recruits big guys, so, the evolution of football has gone from bigger guys to smaller guys, but Kirby has always stuck to the blueprint and recruited some really big monsters up front. They still rely on the run, and they've always been a good running football team. Special teams are critical to them. But, the thing that and I was talking to a friend of mine that's he's an NFL GM, and we were talking the other day, and the thing that he mentioned was how calm Kirby is in the game. And, you look at a lot of sidelines and the coaches are screaming and throwing stuff, and you don't ever see Kirby do that. You'll see a guy that makes a big mistake come off the sideline, and Kirby will actually, because he's not as big as those guys, but he props his hands up on their shoulder pads. He looks them eye to eye, and you can see him begging and pleading for them to calm down, shake it off, almost kind of like the way Dabo Swinney handles the guys when his players make mistakes. So I think he does a good job of setting the team up for success through recruiting. But I think the thing that separates him from a lot of people is how calm he is in the game, and he doesn't let the ups and downs of the game affect how he deals or manages the contest. And I think that's the difference in him and the other guys.
Yeah. Coach, how do you when you look at this game, and I know you still follow the Tigers, when you look at this game, do you see an edge, an area where LSU maybe can compete or has an edge somewhere?
Yeah, well, so being the underdog and coming off a win, so I tweeted something one time about, it was a quote by Yamamoto after, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. I said, I fear that awakened the sleeping giant. Yep. And I got some negative, comments about that tweet. But sometimes, you're dealing with kids that are, some of them, the majority of them are right out of high school. And they're young and they're immature and they're not, they just don't understand it all the time and they're not always bought in. And when you're riding a high like LSU was, you slip up sometimes. And the same thing happens as coaches, too. And so I think one, being the underdog and then coming off of a disappointing loss, and then on the flip side of that, Georgia's got to be feeling good about themselves, too, with the season that they had. So I think that is one thing that LSU has going for them, and the doubt. A lot of people don't know how well Jaden is going to play or if he's even going to start. So I think there's a lot of unanswered questions about who the Tigers are right now coming off that loss. And so, if I were coaching there today, I love being the underdog because, when the better we were, those teams, and you played, how it is, you mark certain teams every year on your calendar. And, you put a big X on that date. And with LSU being a little down and being a little banged up, I think they got a shot of sneaking up on Georgia. And me as a coach preferred sneaking up on them instead of them standing at the fence loaded and ready to go.
And sir, that was the case a week ago when LSU went to Kyle Field. And maybe LSU does catch Georgia on a little bit of a downturn here looking ahead. We'll see. He is Coach Tommy Moffett on Twitter, at Tommy Moffett. Of course, Coach, I love the Moffett Method, man. I'm fired up to see how this has progressed. The website, I see it here, the MoffittMethod.fit, the MoffittMethod.fit. For those that aren't familiar, remind people what you're doing now with the Moffett Method.
Yeah. All right, great. Thank you. So we have developed a remote coaching app for athletics, and it's not football specific. We have programs for all sports, from tennis, golf, racket, the racket sports, and soccer and lacrosse, all the way up to football. And so schools will sign up. It's a subscription-based system. And then we assign a remote coach to that school that is on call 24/7 to answer any questions that the coach has and to train the coach, the administration, the sports medicine department up on how to use the program. And then the app is downloaded on the phone, iPad, laptop. So the athletes will wake up every Sunday and they have the next week's training on their cell phone so they can prepare for all the lifting and running that they're going to do that week. And then when they go into the school, if it's a weight room where they have the tablets mounted on the rack, they can pull up their profile. Or the athletes, if the coach doesn't mind, they can have the program on their cell phone while in the weight room. And there's also a printable version of the program. And so it's very scalable for all levels of athletics, and we're super excited about it. We've got a wonderful team that has 10 years of experience in this market, so it's not like we're starting something from scratch. Matt Bruce, who owned Brute Strength, that was very successful, and at one time they had over 2,000 clients with Brute Strength. and brute strength is still a force to reckon with in the CrossFit industry. And so we teamed up, we started it, and we're excited about it. Plus, we have a podcast that I am doing. Hopefully, we can launch it within the next week or two, where it's educational based, where I highlight some of the great coaches and administrators and friends that are within our industry to talk shop. So we're super excited about it, and we continue to grow and get bigger every day.
He is Coach Tommy Moffett. It is the Moffett Method, online, themoffittmethod.fit, themoffittmethod.fit. Of course, you download the app as well. Coach, go Bears. Pull them through tonight. Looking forward to a big win out there at Memorial Stadium. And I know you'll be pulling for the Tigers tomorrow as well, man. We appreciate you as always.
Amen. All right, thank you, Matt. Thanks for having me on. Go Tigers, go Bears.
My pleasure. That is Tommy Moffett. This is After Further Review. We're here at the Big Kahuna in downtown ATL. Our coverage brought to you by Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Tell you all the time, do business with someone you know. That's us, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Title sponsor of our coverage here on Football Friday from the SEC Championship, and of course from Rev Business as well. We appreciate our friends over at Rev for jumping aboard and helping make this happen. All right, it's After Further Review. We'll knock out a quick break. Mintz and Musso are hanging out. We'll talk to the fellas coming up a little bit. I'll get you a pick on LSU and Georgia before this hour is over. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here on a Friday edition of AFR for the Big Kahuna in downtown Atlanta, GA. Stay here. Don't you move.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan, injury attorneys. Of course, love telling you about Gordon, the great work Gordon and his firm have done for so many Louisiana residents over the years. You've been injured in an accident. You need representation. Gordon McKernan, injury attorneys. Get Gordon, get it done. You can always go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. But Gordon serves our community in so many ways. Of course, we've told you so many about so many of the NIL opportunities that Gordon has presented. The newest 5-star LSU commitment, Shelton Sampson, the newest Get Gordon athlete, which is phenomenal to see. But during this holiday time, which is tough for a lot of people, part of Gordon Gives, they give away 500 bicycles to children in our community. You can go to GordonGives.com to learn more or to apply. Go to GordonGives.com to take part in the 500 Gordon Gives bicycle giveaway this holiday season. You know what to do. GetGordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana Loyal. Always.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck.
Live from the Big Kahuna in downtown Atlanta, after further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Team in one of the best conferences, the team that won the most games or won their division on the other side. You know, it's a matchup of the two, what usually is the two best teams in the SEC, which is a really competitive conference. So, I mean, it's a championship game. You know, it's a lot of talent on both sides of the ball, and it's an opportunity to win the conference that has represented so much in college football in recent years.
Kirby Smart talking about taking on the LSU Tigers in the SEC championship game, Mercedes-Benz Stadium Saturday. We will be in that number, looking forward to it. Barstool Mintz is here. He gets to check out his first SEC championship game.
I do.
Because as an Ole Miss fan, why would he ever be in Atlanta the first Saturday in December? How are you, Mintz?
I'm doing well. I got to say, big shout out to Gordy Rush, my old boss, ESPN Baton Rouge. He called me Sunday night. He said, Mintz, come hang out with ESPN Baton Rouge. Got you a room. Going to give you the royal treatment here in Atlanta. I said, all right. If I'm the king of the South, I got to be at the SEC championship, baby. So.
Do you? So this morning, woke up, we're heading down, go get a workout in. I get off the elevator. The first person I see is Barstool Mintz coming around the corner, bro. We wrapped for a bit there. What's your impressions been so far, just being down here for a day?
Man, first of all, it's a who's who of the SEC at that Hyatt. Yeah. I mean, it's like everywhere you go, it's big names, and you can feel a buzz in the air everywhere. Big shout out to Big Kahuna. Great turnout today.
Yeah, man, this
awesome. Thing's been going for 6 hours. This place is packed.
It's been packed the whole day.
Yeah, it's been packed the whole time. Good music. People are boozing, having a good time. But, yeah, you can feel it in the air. And, look, I'm excited to see what tomorrow's like. I'm going to hit the Fan Fest up. I'm going to tourist it up and just try to take it all in because, like I said, it's my first one.
Mintz, we've been talking a lot to everybody about the game. And, I mean, the general feeling I think that everybody has is I could best tell. LSU's got to throw the ball to have some success. You need Georgia to maybe turn it over a little bit, kind of get lucky. Do you see, like, when you look at Georgia or LSU, anything in this ball game that you look at a matchup and say, yeah, watch that one. That's one that could be interesting.
Well, I think in general, I think LSU's defense is going to get their manhood questioned after what happened last week, and I think LSU's defense is going to keep them in this football game. I look at Georgia's offense. Yeah, the tight ends are unbelievable mismatches, pretty good running game, but I'm not blown away that, like, Georgia's going to score in the 40s here. I mean, I think LSU defense can hold them in the, mid-20s here and give them a chance. And I expect them to have a really good effort, especially the run defense, which allowed the 215 yards to A-Chain last week. I think they're going to be ready. The side of the game that I want to know is, what's been the great equalizer with LSU all year on offense? Early in the year you had O-line problems. You've had a ton of slow starts to games, but it's been Daniels' legs. And, what's going on there with the ankle. He practiced all week. If you can practice, you can play.
Yeah.
But on the fast track and the dome turf, I feel like he can extend some plays, and they're gonna need that because obviously Georgia's defensive front is so tough. But I think LSU's defense can keep them in the game, and hopefully Daniels can make some plays with his legs because I think that's the path.
I mean, do you think LSU wants to play a game? So, like last year in this game, I brought this up a bunch. Bryce Young had a massive day. He threw for 420 in the game last year. Do you think LSU is better off trying to play a game like that where you get into that sprint? or do you want to play in a slog against Georgia?
That's interesting. Like, I'd probably say a little more of a slog, probably. I just worry about, like, LSU blocking their front. I mean, look, Will Campbell's been awesome. I mean, for a freshman left tackle, how good he's been. The O-line's improved as the year has gotten on. But, man, that Georgia front is really, really tough. And, you know, what I've found watching LSU is people get tired of chasing Daniels, and that's why you see these third and fourth quarters. You know, you've seen it all year. It really gets taken off in the second half. Georgia's had some slow starts offensively, too. And I think this is like if LSU can, you know, muck this game up and it's 10-7 or 13-10 at half, you got a chance in the second half. I think that's very, very possible.
That is interesting, right? Because I think because Georgia's so good at the line of scrimmage on both sides, you feel like if you try to play one of those games, you're playing right into their speed. Like they would happily play the game and just keep you at arm's length. But the flip side of it is you're always like a scoop and score, a pick six away from taking a lead if it's a one-score game like that.
No, and look, I really don't think, like I said, I think LSU's defense is going to be getting called out all week. I think House has done a spectacular job all year. And I think the run defense specifically, everybody's acting like it's a big weakness after last week. I think they're going to be ready to play tomorrow.
The run, man, look, you saw it in the Ole Miss game.
Dude, that defense has been good. I mean, the second half adjustments in the Ole Miss and the Mississippi State game where y'all shut them down. Look, I think it's been well coached. The A&M game, and everybody's obviously this society, it's always you're as good or as bad as last week. I mean, they didn't show up ready to play. There's no getting around it. It was Thanksgiving week. They'd already clinched the West, blah, 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 blah. They weren't ready. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But I actually think that sets them up for a bounce back. They get to play for freaking SEC championship at year one under Brian Kelly. You kidding me? The opportunity that this is? People, you know, obviously I know people kill for this opportunity. And I think LSU's defense is going to keep them in this game. My question is Daniels mobile enough and can he make enough plays? That's period left.
Mincy's here with us on Twitter at Barstool Mincy. I'll give him a follow. Are you a Stetson Bennett believer?
I mean,
and I'm going to let you define that.
It's so weird to say no, but, like, I mean, he's solid. You know, he's one of those, like, he's a little more than a game manager because he can throw a decent deep ball every now and then, and he can extend some plays with his legs. But, like, overall, I mean, not really.
Okay, let me ask it this way.
I've just seen all these Georgia. I mean, like, look at the Kentucky game, Missouri game. I mean, they have games where their offense goes in just huge lulls.
Yeah. Do they, if Stetson Bennett is the switch quarterbacks on the teams, how different are their seasons? If Bennett's quarterbacking LSU and Daniels is quarterbacking Georgia, how different are their seasons?
I think a good bit because I really think, if Bennett had been quarterbacking LSU, I think that's – I mean, I look at the Florida win and the Bama game and a lot of these, I just don't believe necessarily LSU would have won. I agree. I think Daniels has been awesome, and also think shout out to Joe Sloan, my guy, quarterbacks coach, has done such a good job with him.
We haven't talked enough about Joe this year.
Yeah, great dude. I know him, 318 guy from Louisiana Tech. Did an awesome job as the Tech OC for like 5 or 6 years too.
Tech OC came down here, quarterbacks coach, also a guy that when he was at Tech, his recruiting territory was Baton Rouge, New Orleans, so naturally entrenched in North Louisiana, but has recruited the southern part of the state and as the quarterbacks coach. He's had a massive impact because LSU's never – Mitzi, it's odd as it is, man. LSU never had a quarterback coach. Like all those years, like a dedicated – you'd have like an OC that might also work with the quarterbacks. Like it's just it's odd to see that LSU didn't, despite all the struggles at that position for so many years pre-Burrow. But I think he's been integral in that development.
He said he's just loved coaching Daniels so much. He said his attitude and leadership and work ethic and desire to do better. I mean, I talk to Joe literally almost every week, and he's also said he's like literally almost never had as much fun in his life as he has this year, coaching this year, and how much of a joy it's been.
Dude, it's been a fun year for LSU, man. I mean, it's just sometimes those, like I would say, it's relative to expectations, right? So, I mean, everybody knows you're an Ole Miss guy. So look at, like, Lane's first year.
Oh, yeah. Most fun 5-5 team of all time.
I mean, that's the point. I mean, it was 5-5, but it was like, based on where the program had been and how that year went, like, that was pretty stinking incredible.
Yeah.
You know? And so, I mean, I think for LSU fans, they're looking at this year in total and going, dog, man, in Atlanta, the SEC championship.
It's unbelievable. In year one, you're talking about, I was at the Texas Bowl when they had 36 players drafted out.
Yeah.
That was in 2022, and now you're sitting here in Atlanta, and, like, obviously the part of what made LSU so much fun is, like, the hostility of the fan base. But the ones who are complaining after last week, I'm just, like, watching this. I'm like, this is just unbelievable.
I know.
How ungrateful. Like,
I do understand I do understand that as the season went along and you had more success, the target moved. It moved, because you were legitimately going into the final weekend thinking, man, you beat A&M. You find a way to upset Georgia, you're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So the target moves, and now you're talking about, man, is this team going to finish the season on a 3-game losing streak, Citrus Bowl? It's a dramatically different conversation in a matter of 1 week. So that's why I do understand that sentiment, but I also think I never run from expectation, man. I mean, it's like I tell LSU fans that all the time, never lower that bar. Like, the bar being where it is why you've had 20 years of this elite sustained success.
Look, LSU's over 6.5 wins this year. I said 8-4 before the year. I thought that Kelly'd come in here and do a good job. Now, I didn't SEC West, heck no. I didn't think that. I thought they'd be good. And also, I'm going to go a little alternate thinking. I actually think the bad effort at A&M is going to give them a better chance tomorrow. I think that's going to make everybody, practice, everybody look in the mirror and say, hey, maybe we're not what we thought. Now we got a chance to avenge it in the SEC title game. And so I think they're going to play their hearts out. Their defense is going to keep them in the game. It's just, can Daniels move around enough, make enough plays on offense?
You hanging around for a sec?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get Musso up here as well. Of course, AFR producer Matt Musso, a.k.a. Muse, who is also co-hosting Eagle 98.1 Game Day. We'll get Muse and Mintzy on here in just a sec. It's after further review. We're live from the Big Kahuna in downtown Atlanta, making our way through hour number 3. Glad to have you aboard with us. We're brought to you by Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com. That's mold-0usa.com. If you have mold, don't go cutting sheetrock. Don't go doing demo. Just call Mold Zero. Jim Woodworth and the gang, they do awesome work. They'll come in, they'll spray their patented non-toxic dry fog. You let it dwell for about 45 minutes. As soon as the fog dissipates, mold is gone, and you get to go back into your home, your office. It's safe for you, your family, your pets, everybody. It's, again, patented non-toxic. It's at Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com, mold-0usa.com for Mold Zero. All right, we will continue from – are those your fans?
No, Monroe.
Got it.
3-1 great, baby.
With the headset on, I can't hear, but they were yelling. I didn't know if they were mad at me or shouting at you. The Mintzy clan is here. We are at the Big Kahuna. Just go to break, Alonzo. We'll be back.
AFR.
Nearly half of children in foster care drop out of school. But you can rewrite that story. Children and youth with CASA and GAL volunteers are more likely to succeed in school. Change a child's story. Become a volunteer today.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt and Hill. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at revelryteam.com. Revelry Sports, the official tailgate partner of LSU Athletics.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution. A network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job,
Hudco can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call Hudco Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boy.
Live from the Big Kahuna in downtown Atlanta, after further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Rolling along here from the Big Kahuna. Muse joins us. It's
gracious.
Yeah.
This chair.
You know what, Muse?
Where's the chair that Peter Burns was sitting in earlier? The big tall one. That's what I need.
Hang on. Yeah.
My goodness, what is this?
Hang on, Danny. I just want I want him to sit in that chair.
Of course you do. Of course you do. Yeah, there's no surprise there. A listener was literally just like, he treats you horribly. And here we go. Right here, Matt. This is Exhibit A. Right here. Right here.
People do realize, or maybe they don't, that it's...
Look at this.
That's what I wanted to show you. Okay, if you're not
That's
watching...
so good.
So when Peter was here, he was on the big stool.
Yeah.
And Peter's like 6'3".
Peter's, yeah.
Right? So he's a big, tall guy. So it was like me and Ross, and we're not small people.
No.
But Peter is bigger and was on the big stool, was higher, and it looked ridiculous because we looked tiny. So I got Peter in the little kiddie chair, so then Peter was down this low. And then you came, and you're decidedly not as tall as Peter Burns.
I'm decidedly a lot shorter than Peter Burns.
Yes.
We can just call a spade a spade.
That's a fair way to say it.
Yeah.
And now you're sitting in the kiddie table. The smallest guy here is sitting in the kiddie table chair, which makes him look even smaller. But it's 6:37. But it's 5:37 Central Time. So how you feeling about it right now?
About what? About the game or about the time? I don't know what you're asking.
Well, you know. I mean, it's usually about that time of day where.
Oh, you know, man, I feel good. I was talking over there with Bo, our engineer, and I was like, it's weird seeing him on air at 6:30 right now. We're normally long gone.
No, I was making a weed joke.
Oh.
Yeah, I was making a weed joke.
Well, no, yeah, I feel fine.
Yeah, good. Got it.
Yeah, no.
So Mintzy's hanging out. Muse is here. Muse, here, like, you can stand, or like for real though.
All right.
Well,
no, that might make it look too.
No. I think it's funny.
You're
commanding the room.
I mean, it is funny. I'm gonna sit down. You know what? We're gonna do it for the bit. We're gonna do it for the bit.
A man who respects the bit. Real quick, Phil, remind everybody what the plan is tomorrow with you and Hanny for game day.
Sure, absolutely. So we'll be live from SEC Fanfare in World Congress Center, 10 a.m. Central Time. If you're in Atlanta, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Hester's going to join us for a little bit as well. So it'll be the three of us there. You're going to hop on. Shay's going to hop on. Otter, we'll have Otter Locks. I mean, it's going to be the full show.
What time am I coming on?
It's 12. My rundown's over there. I'll tell you after the show.
Am I on location or am I on?
You're on location. You're on location.
So
you can make it over to the World Congress Center.
Oh, well,
I'm going to that tomorrow.
I need to get my credential anyway at the stadium. So I will make it out there. Mincy and I were talking before you jumped on, sort of about his, and I don't want to put words in Mincy's mouth, but his feeling was that basically the A&M game is actually going to be a benefit to LSU to play better. What are your thoughts?
No, I think that can be something. You know, LSU, the 2 times they've had to bounce back this year, they've done it very well. Southern obviously is what it is. I understand. But the Florida game, I think, is really where you look. I mean, Tennessee, it really could not have gone worse for you. You fumbled the opening kickoff. We don't have to rehash the whole game. We all watched it, and quite frankly, we don't want to rehash that game. But there was not a lot of faith for you going to Gainesville that week.
Yeah.
And you dominated the game. I mean, I know it was a 10-point final score, but at one point you were up 3 touchdowns. Like, LSU dominated that football game in a major bounce-back spot, and I think that serves well. I think that also speaks to Brian Kelly and the preparation and the system and everything we've heard about how he gets this team ready. I think they come out ready to play tomorrow.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think the defense, my biggest point on it was defense has been really good all year, and it fell off a cliff last week, especially the run D, and I think they're going to be fired up tomorrow, and you're going to see an LSU defense is going to keep them in this game.
I picked Florida that week after Tennessee. I hated the spot. I thought you have this really, really emotional, like, because remember, the context is at the time they played Tennessee, like, LSU was a favorite in that game.
Yeah.
LSU was
no,
Tennessee
it was 2.5.
Line. It was short line.
2.5.
But, like, we all thought, hey, man, like, they found their footing after the opening season, debacle against Florida State, and then to go out and get so thoroughly
dominated,
humbled, then to go on the road at Florida was a really tough spot. And remember, that was Florida had beaten Utah, and I mean, and then they went and dominated. I mean, I think I agree. I think this is a team that has faced adversity and been able to sort of turn it on its head a little bit. I would be surprised if I can't imagine it being flat tomorrow.
No.
I cannot imagine that. Like, this game, this stage, in the history of this game, you rarely see a blowout.
Yeah.
I mean, was it the 2016 game, the McElwain year one, when they lost to Bama 51 to 20, whatever it was. But it's a rare occurrence that you see one of those in this game.
That's fair, and I mean, it's just, and this, you don't want to put too much importance on it, but like, this is kind of your game right now, right? I mean, this is your moment. You can still win. We've talked about it all week. You can still win what is perceived as the premier conference in college football, and that's nothing to sell yourself short on, man. That gets you back into the New Year's Six. I mean, that you still have goals in front of you.
I mean, it's an SEC championship. Like, certain other people would give a right leg to have a chance in this situation. And one other point to make is both Georgia has had some slow starts in offense too. LSU has too. I mean, maybe this game gets mucked up and it's 13-10 at the half, and you're in it going to the second half.
I think what happened against Alabama would serve LSU very well here, where you let your defense keep you in the game early while your offense finds its footing, because you're not just going to come out and take the ball straight down the field against Georgia opening drive and score a touchdown. That's not going to happen. But if you can, it was 0-0. Was the first quarter scoreless against Alabama? Was it 0-0 or was it 3-0? Or was it 3-0?
LSU kicked the field goal.
Yeah, 3-0. So if you can somehow find that, I think Mason Taylor could have a really big game for LSU.
Is there? So one other thing, and I'll throw this out to y'all, and I'm curious your thoughts. So when you look at Georgia's tight ends, they look like Kittle, Kelsey, right? Right. I mean, that's right.
Oh. What up,
Kelsey played for Brian Kelly at Cincinnati. What is the position we have talked about ad nauseum since he was hired that Brian Kelly knows the best?
Tight end.
Freaking tight end. Offensive line tight end. I get Georgia's are awesome. But if there's anybody who knows that position really, really well and knows how to use a tight end really well and probably how to scheme against a tight end really well, I would think that might be Brian Kelly.
He compared Mason Taylor to Brock Bowers preseason.
He did.
I mean, he made that comparison. So, I don't know. I think, look, it's not apples to apples, but there are similarities between Georgia and Alabama's defense. I mean, Kirby and Nick, I mean, there's there. And they looked to Mason Taylor a lot in that Alabama game. I think he could be a big player for LSU in this one.
It was scoreless at the end of the first half against Bama. Looked up. I think, didn't LSU score on the first play of the second
That's
quarter?
Probably when they kicked the field goal.
I think they kicked the field goal. I think the first play of the second quarter was – oh, no, the first score was John Emery's touchdown.
Right, after the sack. Yeah.
Okay, anyway. Mintzy, how much of a chance you give LSU tomorrow? How do you think it goes?
Way more than the 17.5. I mean, I think that, like I said, I see a game that can get into the third quarter. You know, if it's 13-10, whatever, you can get into the third quarter and have a chance. I come back to, like, LSU's O-line's improved, but, man, can they hold up against this front? I mean, that's – and no one really has. I mean, it's not rocket science. Like I said, man, I mean, I don't know Daniel's health. I know he's practiced, but his legs on that fast turf, I mean, he could take off for some 20-yard runs and some third downs that could really make a big difference in this game. I keep coming back to that.
What you think?
I expect a hell of an effort from LSU tomorrow, and I think they can play with Georgia. Can they win the game? I'm not so sure, but they're going to be in it. I would be shocked if they get run tomorrow.
I've got it like 27-17 Georgia.
27-17?
Something where their defense fights really, really hard.
Higher scoring game favors LSU, you think?
And I want to really quick remind you about Rouse's, official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Remember, Rouse's can handle all of your holiday meals. You can call Rouse's. You can log on to Rouse's.com, download the Rouse's app. They can handle all of your holiday meals. Leave the fuss to us. I know Thanksgiving's in the rearview mirror, but if you're having a holiday party, Christmas Day for the family, Christmas Eve, or the Christmas party for work or for family, let Rouse's cook for you. The main courses, the ham, the turkey, all the sides, they can take care of all of it for whatever number of people you need. That's at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com to check out more or download the Rouse's app. For Rouse's, again, also, remember, download the Rouse's app. Curbside delivery and pickup options are available. That's at Rouse's. Locations everywhere. You know where they are. It's Rouse's. Rouse's.com.
Blue Cross presents Flying Nacho!
Defense! Defense! Defense!
Oh, ow!
Defense!
Oh, my eye!
Oh, sorry. Is that my nacho in your hair?
Being a fan isn't always a contact sport.
Have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
My dad just really enjoyed his life, and he enjoyed smoking cigars and thought he was invincible. My stepdad quit smoking, and he really felt like he was in the clear. Sorry. I wish they would have been screened annually. It's not just you affect, it's your entire family.
For more information on Ochsner's free smoking cessation program and to see if you qualify for early lung screenings, visit ochsner.org/quit.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance. This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Live from the Big Kahuna in downtown Atlanta, after further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, down the stretch we come, final segment here on a Football Friday edition of AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. If you're back home, of course, great spot to watch the game tomorrow, to hang out, have a premium cigar, cocktail, Don Juan Cigar Bar. We always appreciate our friends at Don Juan. I'm going to give you some thoughts on LSU Georgia here to wrap up in a second. Quickly, though, a ton of thank yous. Thank you to Todd McClure, who joined us, Mike Griffith from Dog Nation for joining us. Shout out to Ross Dellenger, Peter Burns, Tommy Moffett, Ben Mintz, Matt Musso, Jordan Spector. Thanks to all of our guests who joined us here today on site and via the phone. Makes these shows so much fun, because it's one of the, the show is typically very structured, and when we go through days like this, we can be a little more loose and free, and that color outside the lines a bit. And that's fun. That's a lot of fun, and today's show is a lot of fun. So thanks to everybody who joined us. Thank all of you listening at home who've hung out with us here on YouTube or on WBTR. Thank you all so much. Very, very grateful to everybody for being here. And massive, massive shout out to my partners at HUDCO Roofing, our title sponsor, and of course our friends over at Rev Business. Without HUDCO and Rev, we're literally not here, because their sponsorship allows us to take everything on the road, which is very, very there's massive, massive costs associated with taking all of this stuff and all these people on the road. So HUDCO and Rev, awesome people. You need a roof, call HUDCO, and of course Rev Business. We appreciate our sponsors. All right, one thing left for me to do is give you a pick on this game. And when Peter and Ross were here earlier, I asked them if collectively they had seen anybody in the media pick LSU in this game, and nobody had. And I always tell you that if I had to, I make my picks. If I had to bet my life savings on something, that's the mindset I put myself in when I try to make a pick for a game, because I never want to lie to you. I never want to mislead you. I want to give you an honest opinion. and I'm not going to do that right now because I don't really care. I'm sitting here in Atlanta, Georgia. The SEC championship game is tomorrow. LSU played like absolute crap a week ago against Texas A&M, and you better believe the way this team bounces back, they will absolutely bounce back. Massive bounce back after Florida State. They won 4 in a row. After they lost to Tennessee, they blew out Florida and then went on to win 5 in a row. Jaden Daniels, his ankle is healthy, and I'm going to tell y'all something right now, which I've told y'all for probably half the season now that I believe in watching Georgia. Stetson Bennett will be careless with the football. He will. There are a couple of times in the game where you're going to look and go, what is he doing? Why is he throwing that? And if LSU can make him pay for it, LSU's going to win the turnover margin, and it's going to look a lot like that Missouri game did. And Georgia came out victorious in that one, 26-22. The problem for Missouri is they couldn't finish drives. And I'm here to tell you, LSU is a 17.5-point underdog. I get it. Georgia's a really good team. They're also 5-7 this year against the spread. So or maybe they're 6-6 against spread. Either way, it's been a coin flip proposition, them covering big numbers all year. I think LSU last week is a 10-point favorite, went on the road and got spanked. Now they're a 17-point underdog. I really don't think they care about the spread in this game. I think Georgia is not able to do the one thing that LSU cannot defend, which is elite wide receivers stretching the field. That's what Tennessee did. Georgia doesn't have that. Georgia's got amazing tight ends, but I don't believe Georgia's receivers are good enough to hit those big plays against LSU. And I think LSU's defensive front seven plays a much better game tomorrow to keep this thing close. And I think Jaden Daniels in a gotta-have-it spot, like he did against Florida after an embarrassing game against Tennessee, like he did against Ole Miss after the embarrassing game against Auburn and the way that all transpired. I think we look at a game where Jaden lets it rip, and I think LSU's going to win the game. I'm not betting my life savings on it, but I think LSU's going to win 27-24. I'm going to be the only person alive who picks LSU to win this game. Damn it, I'm looking forward to being in that stadium tomorrow. I've seen LSU hoist that trophy a bunch, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again tomorrow. Y'all have an awesome night. We'll see you Monday from back in studio.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, I'm going to remind you about Relief Windows. No, forgive me. Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020. Sorry. Shout out Relief Windows. Awesome people as well. I love Brandon Holly and the gang. They're magnificent. Windows, door siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. But remember the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com. I was talking to Amber over there today in their marketing department. Said, hey, remind people if you have FSA or HSA funds, you can use them on vision correction. So I mention LASIK all the time, but if it's that lens implant or PRK, whatever it is, you can use your HSA and FSA funds for that, but they expire at the end of the year. So you've got to use them by December 31st. So that means right now, get your consultation with Dr. Blake. Schedule that consultation so you can go for the consultation, decide if you want to proceed, and then get on his surgery schedule, which can take some time. But you got to do that before the end of the year. It's WilliamsonEye.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
A third of youth who grow up in foster care are homeless 18 months after aging out of care. But you can rewrite that story. Change a child's story. Become a volunteer today.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility. Moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Service Master Elite creates